I'm lucky. My kitchen's only like 15 feet away. In fact, that's the ice right there.
All right, we are live. So, thank you for everybody who might tune in and watch this. Vote you guys off and save some of you. Um, this is going to be basically not necessarily a play test, but a run through of Epoch. It's a sort of a survival horror role playing game. It doesn't use dice. It's going to use cards, custom cards built for the system, which all of the players will have ready, and we're going to do a little outline of. But the basic concept is very character driven. You guys have 100% control of who your characters are, what you're doing, the injuries that you take, and even when you die, assuming luck goes your way. So there's basically two phases for this game. There's going to be what's called the tension phase, which is going to be the heavy role play, story driven section of the game. And then there's a confrontation or a climax phase. For that one is when you guys will play a card based on one of the ones that you have in your hand and decide what happens. And we go, basically, I'll be telling who goes first. It'll alternate between round to round on what happens. If you were at a table, it would go clockwise, starting with the person on your left, and then the second round would be the second person on your left, and then the third person, slowly going around, so everybody gets a chance at being first to play the cards or whatever. So in your hands, or in front of you, you should have 4 cards. You're going to have a minor mental anguish and a minor physical injury. You're going to have one for moderate, one for major, and then your hero 0 card. So keep those right in front of you. Those are the main ones that you're going to use. Additionally, you can have a 5th card, and that's going to be a relationship card that tells you who you are within this family, that everybody's playing a part of this family. All of you already have that, and you can actually share that one once we get to it and start building your story based on those. You're going to have a 6th card. This one is labeled secret. On this card, you're going to write one secret about yourself. Good, bad, whatever you want, doesn't matter. But you want to keep that a secret. Both in game, nobody's going to know the secret, and out of game, you don't want anybody else to find out about this secret. You can have a 7th card. This is going to be called the flashback card. This would go into your hand to play when I tell you to put it there. Otherwise, just set it aside. I'll let you know when to add it to your deck or your hand or whatever you want to call it. There's an 8th card called your trait. This was already sent to you over Facebook Messenger as well. That's more of your sort of like a personality or a strength or weakness or some sort of attribute that your character has. And then finally, there's a 9th card, and that is your personality card. It has 3 basic words on there, like outgoing or independent, romantic, selfish, things like that. And it should have 3 different ones. And you're going to keep that one as well secret, along with your trait. You don't want to tell the other players about those. You are not obligated to run off of these cards. They're meant more as a way to kind of get your mind jogging, to get in character a little bit and give us some sort of concept to your character, since you're basically just going into this free-nilly with no concept in mind. So it's really just some way to start brainstorming your character and give them character. So your relationship card, your secret card, your trait card, and your personality card. You can all set those aside, just put them face down in front of you or wherever, so that you have them to reference back to, but you don't need to do anything more with those. It's done and out of the way. In your hand, you should have your minor, moderate, mental anguish or physical injuries, and your hero 0 card. And then finally, your flashback card, just set that one aside for the moment. So the basic premise or the basic rules for this, I will set up a scene. In the very beginning, I'm going to focus on each character and go down the line as almost, it's called a trailer. Think about it in the movie, at the very beginning of a movie, when the camera focuses on one character and what they're doing, and then another character and what they're doing, before they all kind of get together to do something. And I'll be going through that. Once you all are together, I'll start what's called the tension phase, and that's just a basic role-playing scene. You guys will role-play with one another's. I will have NPCs. There will be some minor conflicts here and there, things to do. And as the story starts to develop, we'll start moving into the climax or the confrontation phases. When the confrontation phase comes up, I will let you guys know that it's swapping into the phase, as well as describe what happens. You would give a basic outline of what your character's doing, and then you would play one of those 4 cards that are in your hand, the minor, moderate, major injuries, or your hero 0 card. For the very first round, you can't play the hero 0 card. That's the only guideline for that. Once you play your card, I will start. Right now, I have Micah, you as the person on my left, per se. So in the first round, you would play your card. You'll announce what it is, and then you will basically tell the story of how that comes into play for your character. So as an example, say you're getting attacked by a zombie. You would state, you played moderate injury or something. When I call on you and, moves over to your scene, you would state how you fought off this zombie, what you did, what kind of effect it had on you, what this moderate injury is. Maybe it gouged an eye or it bit your arm or something. You make all that up completely on your own. I have no say over what does that. Once you finish that aspect of it, I'll go on with the story a little bit, detail any extra little bits it needs, and then Rush, you're next on my sheet. So I would move over to you. At that point, you can keep the card you put down, or you can swap it to a different card based on what Micah did, for example. And then that just continues to round around the table. You would state yours, tell us what happens. Chex would be next, and then Dan would be last in this round. Anytime you haven't played a card already, you can swap it out to change it. So for example, Rush, maybe you played a minor injury at that round, but seeing that Micah took a moderate injury, maybe you wanted to save her. So you played your hero card instead, so you could swap them out to save her. You would alternate the story that she told of her getting bit by the zombie about how maybe you jumped in front of it last second and instead it bit your cheek off, trying to give you a kiss or something. So then it just moves on through the game. Once this first round is over, everybody has your cards, you played your cards. Those cards get set aside into a discard pile, and you keep the 3 cards left in your hand. We will then move into the next tension phase, basically, and start role-playing again and move on through. And it just does that same thing 5 to 6 times, depending on when you get to the ending scene, which is outlined, or everybody's dead, or something else happens that pushes the story forward. That is basically it. At the end of each round, each climax or confrontation phase, after you play your cards, there will be a small break. It'll be like 1 or 2 minutes. All of you can vote on what character you found the most interesting or developed or fun, something, whatever character you like the best out of all. You can't vote for yourself, but you have to vote for one of the others. I'll take votes if anybody does actually decide to watch this shit show. I'll be happy to take their votes over in the YouTube channel. I'll add that to the list. And I get to toss my own vote in, but my vote counts for 2. Any tie breaks are rolled randomly on a dice, and I'll break those. Whoever wins that gets to pick up whatever card they want out of their discard pile and add it back to their hand, thus giving them a chance to live longer. Those of you that are not chosen get to pick up your flashback card. So once you run out of cards is when your character dies, and you would detail that. If you have a flashback card in your hand, you can play that during any tension phase you want. You'll play that, announce, that you're playing that card or whatever, and you would detail a flashback of your character. You can do it anything you want. You should try to maybe base it on maybe your secret or bring in other characters or something. Basically, the goal of that is to give your character more of a personality, more of a storyline to get other people interested in finding out who they are and where they're going to go and what's happened to them over their life. It's basically your way of trying to get into the front of the pack to be able to win the next vote and pick up your card to live longer. Only other thing is for your flashbacks, you can invoke another character. So Micah, say you play a flashback card, you're detailing, about college or something that you were going to, and you could invoke and mention how Chex's character was there and what they did. If he agrees to be invoked, then he puts himself into the story. You two role play out a scene together, and then we move on. You can also piggyback, which means once, just using that example again for you, Micah, if you told the story about you in college and meeting somebody creepy or something like that, perhaps Rush, once she's done telling her story, you would play your card, your flashback card, you will piggyback onto hers, and you would pick up where she left off with your own storyline. Maybe somehow trying to outdo hers, basically. And that is everything. There is, I have a track card which keeps track of the clues and the revelations that you make and things that happen throughout the game. The more points you achieve throughout the story, which I might tell you some cases, other ones I might not, but you want to get as many points as you can to be able to survive the very last scene. And basically that's it. Any questions, comments, concerns? Once you actually start playing, you'll be able to fall right into stuff real easy.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm glad I'm not first.
So
Yeah, thanks.
The minor, moderate, and major. You touched on the kind of physical injuries.
Yep.
What would you put as a kind of minor mental anguish compared to a major?
Minor injuries would be like a broken finger, a torn toenail, maybe a knocked out tooth, small cut, scrape, things like that. Moderate, once you have a minor one, that really, unless you want it to, it won't really impact the story that much. I mean, if you break your finger or something, you might want to mention it later down the road on how it, got you to cause, or, maybe you weren't able to do something and it impacts you in some sort of way, but it's not an ongoing issue thing that you really have to concern yourself about. Moderate ones, a little bit more, you break a wrist or you have a minor concussion, a broken jaw, something not major, but something that kind of makes things a little bit more difficult. Again, that one, maybe you can just pop your arm back into socket or, bandage your leg up where you had a deep cut or something like that. And again, it doesn't have to carry on through the story, but it should at least crop up a little bit on how it's affecting you. A major injury would be something more extravagant, a heavy concussion, broken leg, collapsed ribs or lungs, something major. In that case, when you have a major injury, that does carry on through the story unless you can somehow get it fixed or taken care of. Most of the time, it's not something that's going to be easily fixed, but there's a chance. For your minor, moderate, and major mental anguishes, none of these have to fully carry on with you. It's more of a chance for you to alternate your role play as you go on through the story. So a minor mental anguish might be you're just stressed or flushed with heat or something like that, just not quite in the right mind, where a major might be you just completely snapped and you're going crazy. It might be calmed down by the others who are trying to calm you down or something. That is completely 100% up to you guys how that mental anguish affects you. Think of it as going insane and like Call of Cthulhu or something, but it's only temporary unless you want it to go further. A quick note about the hero and zero card. Hero card is exactly what it says when you want to play a hero. And you can't play that in the very first round, but afterwards you can at any time. And basically it's when you put yourself in front of another player to save them or do something. When you do that, you play your hero card, and then you play another card, be it the minor, moderate, or major injury, and describe how that happens. The zero card is when you shove the other person in harm's way to get out of the way for yourself. That's your more selfish act, in which case you play that. You get off scot-free, describe how that happens, choose another player, and that player has to play another card and describe what happens to them. So there is a little bit of a competition kind of going on in between this to see who can make it to the end as you try to sacrifice one another and yourselves. Just expect that if you do zero somebody, that they probably will be coming for you and trying to up their chances of getting voted as the most interesting next round so they can get their own cards to zero in on you. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. So yeah, for the table setup, I have Micah, you'd be first, Rush second, Chex third, Dan fourth, and that will alternate from round to round, so everybody will get a chance to basically round robin. So be ready, Micah. All right. I'll give you a basic recap of the setting, and we are going to jump right into this.
I did have one question.
Yeah.
When do we resolve the whole relationship thing? Or is that during
We're gonna do that in just a second.
Word.
Yep. All right. So it is 1976, not 1776, as Dan was considering, just in case. But now it's 1976. All of you are family members or friends of the family of some sort, which we're going to hash out in a few moments. And this setting is going to take place in Ithaca, New York. Some of you might be familiar with the city. It's got a bit of a reputation. Some of you across the seas, maybe not so much. But it's a fairly small city, but it's home to two prestigious colleges, both Ithaca University and Cornell University. Ithaca is more academics, math, science, some odds and ends, a little bit of your all-around college, where Cornell is heavy into biology, veterinary, and doctorate schools, science labs and stuff like that. Whoever set up this city, it sits alongside of what's called Cayuga Lake. It's the second largest lake in New York. Both sides of this lake are lined with wineries. It's called wine country, and it's part of what's called the Finger Lake Trails. But this lake is about 40 miles long. It averages between 5 and 15 miles wide, pretty large lake. And that runs along the left-hand side of Ithaca. On the right-hand side is both the Ithaca College, which is right on the edge of the town, and Cornell is up on what's called the Northwest Hill, or Old Baldy. And it sits up way up on top of the hill and basically overlooks the town and the lake. It was built way back. Some of the buildings are all the way back to the 16th, or I guess it would be 17th century, 18th century. So a lot of them are like 200-300-year-old buildings. Let's see. The roads that set up this town were designed really crappy. It's one single road that leads into it. It's called Route 13. It goes right into the city, right through the heart of the city, and exits the city. Outside of that, there's a few off roads, side roads, and other little routes to get into the city. But for the most part, it's that one road. So expect, any mornings or morning traffic, evening traffic, getting out of work, rush hour. It's just a dead end stop for hours as you try to get through the city. And on top of all that, besides the college kids. On the bright side, those that live within the city, being that it's fairly small, every place is within walking distance pretty much. They have what's called the Commons, which is really now it's pretty much nothing but head shops along the side of the street for about a mile. But they have a mall. They have your business district, all those shopping plazas and everything. Pretty much whatever you want is within walking distance of the colleges. So it's mostly a college town now. Not too many families live there anymore. So as this setting sets up, you have an idea of where you're at. Let's start with Micah. What was your relationship?
I'm a spouse.
All right. Do you want to be a spouse of one of the others or of an NPC?
I'd say that depends on the others. If anyone wants a spouse to torture or whatever. No? Nobody?
Everybody says screw that.
I have a step relationship.
Yeah,
so I could be like, I have like step brother, step father, step son. So I don't know. Maybe that could fit in.
I'm just terrified to be married to an angry German woman.
I'm not a German. Stay in game, please. In character, please. Well, I'll take an NPC then.
Okay. So, what is your husband's name then?
My husband's name is Michael.
Michael. All right. And another question. Actually, two more questions for you. What is your sister's name?
Susan.
Susan. All right. And lucky for you, today is her wedding day. Who is her fiance?
Oh boy. Chris.
Chris. That's a fiance. Nice. So all of you are here in Ithaca, be that you either live here close by or something. But as I said, today is actually, Micah, what do you want to go with your name, or do you have a character name?
I'm Jessica.
All right, so Jessica.
What's our family name?
I don't know. What is it?
The main branch, whatever.
Briar.
Yeah, that
Briar.
fits.
It is. All right. So Jessica Briar. In that case, and you have your sister Susan, your fiance Chris, and they are getting married today. So that's what all of you are basically here for. Whether you live here or whatever is kind of up to you. It doesn't really matter either way. But you're here in town getting ready for this wedding that's later on today. So I guess you are NPC. So whoever wants to go next for your relationship, I don't remember exactly what you all had. So. Don't everybody speak up at once.
Oh, is that?
No, whichever. What did you have, Rush? You have
I have sibling.
sibling. All right, now, do one of you guys want a sibling?
Maybe, if he's sibling, I could be like step sibling, and
Yeah.
maybe I'm like Susan's son, and you're Chris's son.
Ooh.
So like they're getting married or whatever,
Yep.
and I would be like Susan's son, and he would be Chris's son. And we'd be like just meeting today.
Nice.
Ooh.
Not just meeting, but like, you know.
Right. I like that.
Patchwork family.
Is that cool with you, Rush?
Yeah.
All right.
So what's who was that? Dan.
Yeah.
So what's your what is the? Well, I guess I'll get to that in a minute.
In that case, yeah. What's your character name, Dan?
Jack.
Jack. All right. And let's see. You wouldn't be of the Breyer family then. You'd be Susan. So yeah, you'd probably have somebody else's last name or her last name, whichever.
Jack.
Reacher.
Hargrave.
Oh, great. Gotcha. All right. And Rush, how about your character name?
Frank.
Frank?
Frank.
Manly names.
Yes.
Coal country names.
Yes. 1976 porn stash names.
All right. And your last name? Because looks like you probably have somebody else since it's Chris that you're the son of. So what would you like for a last name?
Oh, Chris is not the Breyer.
Nope. It would be Susan would be, well, actually, since Jessica is married, it would be her husband's last name.
Okay.
Susan was a Breyer, yeah.
We'll go with Tolley. Tolley.
Gotcha. All right, so we have Jessica, your sister Susan, and her fiance Chris are getting married. You have a son, which is, or I'm sorry,
No.
your sister's son Susan has a son named Jack, and her fiance Chris has a son named Frank. And that leaves checks. You have what do you have? I don't remember.
Family friend.
All right. So which family friend do you want?
I don't know. All these names just confused the hell out of me. I guess it would be whoever is getting married. So it'd be Susan.
Okay.
The maiden name,
Right.
which was Hargrave.
Susan Breyer.
Oh, Breyer. Okay.
Because
Well,
wouldn't you have your husband's name?
Yeah, you would have your husband's name, Micah, which would be Breyer.
So your maiden would be Hargrave, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm confused.
Now you know how I feel.
Okay, yeah, that.
All right. So your name was Jessica Hargrave, but you got married to your husband, Michael, which would have been Michael Breyer. So you have Jessica Breyer. That would be your last name.
Yeah, that's right. But
Yeah,
but Susan. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right.
Oh
So
man.
Jessica Breyer, Jack Hargrave, which is Susan's son. And then Frank Tolley, which is Chris's son.
I'm making a diagram, guys.
All right. So who do you want to be the friends of? You can be friends with the sister, the fiance, like one of the kids.
It would be the Hargrave family. So
Susan?
I guess probably Susan.
All right. So you're Susan's friend.
I don't know professions or anything really plays into it.
That's totally up to you in your background. And
Well, I had him down in my head as a photographer, which gives him another reason for being at the wedding.
all right, perfect. Yeah, totally. All right. And how about character name?
Vinny Sarafino.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I'm
Can you
picturing
write
like
that
the
in-
oiliest Italian. Like
Can you write that in chat, please?
Well,
Yeah.
you guys know who to look out for now already.
Got the worst Italian accent ever.
Yeah.
How are you? I'm trying to picture Italian plus Scottish, and I just can't do it.
Oh, shit.
That's a spicy meatball. How's that?
Is that like the only thing you know how to say in Italian, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Grazie.
All right. So as a basic recap, we have Micah. You're playing Jessica Breyer. Your husband, Michael, who's an NPC. Your sister, Susan Hargrave, is getting married today to her fiance, Chris Talley. Let's see. Dan, you're playing Jack Hargrave, son of Susan, who's getting married. Rush, you're playing Frank Talley, the son of Chris, who's also getting married. So the two of you get to become stepbrothers. And Chex, you're playing Vinny Serafino, friend of Susan and photographer of the wedding. Now, all of you, perhaps your sister's probably much older than you, Jessica, being that you're hanging out with Jack, or her son. I guess it would be your nephew technically, but for the sake of this, for whatever reason you guys are together. Frank, I'm figuring Jack and Frank, you guys are probably similar in age, give or take a little. Not a huge deal. And Vinny, you're friends with Susan, so I don't know why the hell you're here, but you can tell me later on. Maybe to take pictures of them. All right. So here's our basic outline. So what we're going to do is actually start things off. I'm going to go through each character. You'll be starting to roleplay the situation, get into character, and then we'll start moving on to the actual storyline itself. And I'll just go right down my list like I have. So, Jessica, the past month or so here in Ithaca has been a sweltering heat wave. Everyday temperatures are on the rise. It's record heat waves across the area. On top of, the sweltering heat, the city is not really equipped to handle with this many people, especially with the colleges coming back into semester, as well as all the traffic and all of the visitors that are coming through the city. Constant brownouts and blackouts rolling through the city as the power supply simply can't keep up with the AC units and the fans and electricity being used. So it's nothing uncommon for, the house and the areas and stuff like that to power drop for 2-3 hours. Maybe it's only a few minutes here and there. Other times it's much longer. So as the camera spans out across the city, showing those beautiful hills of New York and wine country, this Cayuga Lake on the left, and you can see Cornell College up on the hill, all the kids starting to file to and from the campuses, cars parking in all the lots. The camera pans around and focuses on a small house and zooms in. We first see you as you are standing in front of a mirror. Looks like you perhaps just got out of the shower. You're dressed and everything, obviously, but your hair is, still soaking wet. You have your hair dryer out, getting ready to put on your makeup and get things around for the day for your sister's wedding this evening. As you finish doing a bit of your makeup and you start to dry your hair, it just hangs down wet, sopping wet, and the power goes out. You're left soaking wet hair, nothing to really get it dried, short of using a towel and drying it out, trying to make itself look as good as you can. But this frizzy, humid weather doesn't seem to help with the hair a lot, not being able to dry it. So as you're trying to figure out what to do next, there's a constant thumping on your door. Somebody's knocking at your door. What do you do?
Well, first, you couldn't see her face the first few minutes, even when she's looking into the mirror and she's trying to get her makeup done, especially around her eyes. And finally, she turns around and you see that very, very nice and elaborate makeup she put on for today. And yeah, as the power goes out, she gets, with every minute, more agitated, because this is the very, very important day, and she wants to be as pretty as her sister, who always was the more prettier one of both of them. And then the knock on the door, and she looks out of the window, rushes over, looks out of the window, trying to get her hair in a proper shape, and looks down at the door, trying to get a view of the door.
Yeah. Every few seconds, there's just that constant pounding on your doors. Whoever's out there seems to be pretty impatient. As you take a quick peek out the window, or maybe that little eye hole on your door, you see a man standing out front. Has a basic black sort of business suit, a white tie. He has a top hat on, a large briefcase in one of his hands. And he's looking around, kind of like down the street and peering around the houses a little bit, looking at yours. You can see he looks around on your porch a little bit, lifts up your floor mat in front of him like he's trying to find a key or something, and gives a few more knocks.
I sigh deeply, and I grab one of those nice scarves I have hanging next to the bedroom door, and I rush downstairs, binding it around my head to hide my hair, and finally go for the door and open it. Well, what can be so important, sir?
Ah, ma'am, I wasn't quite sure you were home. He says, please, if I may, for just a few moments, have your attention. I am here to see if you would be interested in, preserving yourself the latest series of the Britannica Encyclopedia. Now, I can see your face that you're already a bit worried that this is going to cost a lot, but I assure you it's only a few monthly payments. We'll discuss, the money parts later on, but it's a great deal. There's a total of 27 volumes. Each one is several inches thick. I have a few in my car. I'd love to bring them in and show you. Perhaps we can sit down and talk about this chance to educate your family and your children. There's nothing like having a wonderful encyclopedia collection on the shelf for those nice cold nights when you want to sit down and learn about, maybe a bit of Abe Lincoln or Winston Churchill. You look like a very intelligent woman. That's a beautiful scarf you have on today.
Oh, I don't. And I'll look back.
You don't have to answer right now. I'll just sit down it'll only take maybe 15 minutes. We can browse a few pages. I assure you, it's no trouble on my end at all.
I don't know if my husband is coming home soon, and he doesn't like but he really doesn't like if there are strangers in the house.
Oh, well, that's completely understandable. A lady such as beautiful as yourself having another man in the house, you don't want to have that happen. And I don't want to be there when your husband comes home. It's not like I'm the most manly of men. And he kind of hikes up his shoulders a little. But I assure you, if he sits there and he comes in and we're just looking over a few encyclopedias, maybe things, he'd be quite interested as well. He would like to see you having a fine education as well, right?
She gives us a weak smile, and she's clearly interested in, and the camera shows like a little part of her hallway and of the living room, and they clearly don't have much money, but she's really trying hard to make the house look more than it actually is. And such an encyclopedia would be, of course, a nice addition. And she's clearly fighting inside of herself if she maybe can afford it or not, or what Michael would say. And she finally steps to the side and opens the door. Well, but we really have to hurry, sir.
Oh, it'll only take a few months' time. Do you have somewhere to be? He kind of looks down at his watch. As you look over at the wall, you can see it's about 8:30 a.m. You're supposed to meet Jack, Frank, and Vinny down at the record shop around 9:20 for some photograph opportunities and kind of planning for the day ahead.
Oh, yeah, but my sister is going to marry today. So.
Oh, that's such a beautiful thing. I remember when I was married. Just a soft white little Tilly she was. That was a long time ago. I'm getting a bit up there in age. 47 years old. My birthday was yesterday, if you wouldn't believe it. 47.
Don't you want to come in now? Then really fast.
Yes. And he reaches down and picks up his briefcase, kind of pushes in a little bit, looks around. The kitchen table, will that just be fine?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, right.
And she beckons him in. Close the door.
So, you got any coffee in this place? had to rush out a bit this morning. Didn't quite have a chance to, get my morning coffee. Perhaps we can talk about this over a cup of coffee.
Her face is getting red now, and she nods, but she's getting unhappy. She walks over to the coffee machine. Oh, sure, but maybe you can tell me while I'm making coffee for you what the deal is. My husband is coming home soon, so.
Oh, we can make this a snap jiffy. He pulls out some paperwork, sets it on the table. Outside, as you're standing at the sink and getting a pot of water, and you look out, you can see your neighbor, Fran, a bitchy old woman, and she has 3 little chihuahuas. She's walking down the street. She stops long enough in front of your yard to watch the dogs move in, start taking a crap on your lawn. Another one starts ruffling through your flowers a little bit. She just kind of gives you this smirky smile in the window and gives you a bit of a wave as she's calling for her dog Tootsie to come back. Behind you, this man is laying out papers across the table, and he puts a couple books down. He says, well, it's only 6 monthly installments, $55.55. I know that sounds a little bit expensive. It's almost $300, which, these days is a lot of money, but I'm sure you'd understand that this is a collection of books that you can't simply live without. Be able to, increase your own intelligence of what's happened in history. Your kids will have a chance to not have to go to the library. They can do their own school research here. Your husband could sit down each evening with this fine coffee that you're making and read about Harrison, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. And he just kind of goes on and on and on.
And we see her living room again with the fireplace, and we see all those nice books lined up above it in her dream. And then back in the kitchen, she nods, standing at the sink and staring at those dogs outside with the lips pressed together. And she says, well, you know what? We need this. Yes. Even if it's expensive.
That's wonderful. Well, then, all I have to do is have a couple signatures here. Tomorrow, if you're home, perhaps tomorrow afternoon, I'll drop off all the books, and you will have yourself one fine collection, ma'am. He slides over a couple papers, marks a little area on like 5 different sheets where you need to sign. All this legalese fine print that seems to just be a mishmash of words. You don't quite understand what it's talking about.
Yeah, that's not my responsibility. I walk over, and with a deep sigh, I set my name under each of those documents. And I look very pleased, actually, with my purchase.
He quickly gathers everything up, puts all of his papers back in his briefcase, and says, well, tomorrow I'll be by. We will get you set up, ma'am. And he takes a couple last swigs of his coffee real quick and sets his cup down on the table. And, well, you have a great day then. Thank you very much. I'm going to go visit your neighbor. She looks like a fine lady. Cute dog she has.
Yeah. Take care of those dogs. Yes. And she walks in front of him to open the door for him. Well, thank you for this pleasant visit, sir.
Wonderful. He gives you a bit of a nod, fixes his hat, gives you one last smile. You can see him step down your steps and walking across the street. And as the camera gets ready to pan out, what's the last thing we see of Jessica?
You see a car driving down the street and getting into her driveway, and we see that man, her spouse, her husband, getting out of the car, and Jessica is looking out of the window, and you see her face going completely white as a sheet as she sees him walking up to the door.
Beautiful. And with that, we'll swing over to Dan. So, Jack, you're sitting at this record cafe. Had a great night, before. Went out drinking with some friends. A little bit hungover. This perfect thing you need here is a nice, big, greasy breakfast. So you're waiting for the others to arrive. Something about having the pictures taken by some greasy Italian guy you weren't quite sure about, but it's your mom's wedding day, and you got to make your mom happy. So you do what you do. So the small cafe that you're at, it's called the Record Cafe. The sides of the building are lined up with booths and small tables. They have a fairly small menu, some different breakfast sandwiches, omelets, and a few odds and ends. The whole center area of the store is just lined with big bins of records. You know that the guy that runs this place, his name is Tom. He both buys records from other people. You can trade them in, or buy other ones with the credit that you get. And it's sort of like a record cafe swap area, so you can get new music and learn stuff. He always has great music running across the radio. Over in the far distance, you can see the TV playing. Looks to be a news channel, and they're talking something about the mayor of New York City and some guy that they're calling the son of Sam has been on a murder spree. Seems to be the hot thing on the news lately. And as you're standing there watching this, you feel a little tug on your shoulder, and you look down, you see a girl, maybe 5 or 6, staring back at you. Says, "You look funny, mister. What happened to you? Why is your nose all crooked?"
I was a bad little boy, and then goblins came and they messed up my nose while I was sleeping.
Goblins?
Yeah.
Goblins are real?
Well, they're real if you're a bad little girl.
Oh, well, good thing I'm a good kid. I mean, well, what did they do?
Well,
did they live under your bed? My brother told me that sometimes they live in the toilet too, but I don't believe him.
No, they don't live in the toilet. They live in the darkest parts of the house. Not under your bed.
Basement. My basement's very dark. I don't go down there. I pushed my brother down there once and locked him down there. It was quite entertaining.
And you said you're a good little girl?
Oh, yes.
I'll believe that.
No.
Well, where's your mom?
Oh, well, she kind of points down. You can see a lady up, kind of flipping through some discs, talking to another guy beside her. She looks around a little bit, looks down, sees this little girl talking to you. Just kind of gives you a smile, a little bit of a wave sort of thing, and goes back to doing what she's doing. She's down there with Jeremy. They just wanted to find some books, but or some records. I'm rather bored here. I just seen your funny looking nose and was curious what happened to it. But where did you buy those shoes?
Well,
how come you're here this
they
morning?
were hand-me-downs.
Oh, how come you're here this morning? You
my
don't have
dad's.
anything to eat. Oh, I can't fit in my dad's shoes.
Well, now I can.
What are you going to get for breakfast? Are you going to eat something?
I ordered some waffles.
Oh, waffles
Bacon.
are my favorite.
Yeah?
You can't eat meat.
Why not?
What about the poor piggies?
Man, I don't think about that. It tastes good. Don't think about it too much.
That's just...
Sometimes you just need to turn a blind eye to that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for bothering you, mister. I'm going to go find my mom now, but you have a good day. Eat lots of waffles, but I wouldn't eat that piggy stick.
All right, kid. Go back to your mom.
She gives you a bit of a smile and rushes over. You can see her saying something to her mom. She's kind of pointing down. The lady just kind of smiles back. She's like, I'm sorry. She gets a little bit out of hand sometimes, but we're getting ready to leave, so sorry to bother you.
No, it's all right. And he kind of like rubs his broken nose from when he was a kid, a younger kid.
So what happened?
Yeah, but you should watch your kids. You see the news?
Yeah, it's crazy. You see her look around a little bit nervous, then she just kind of waves and hustles her kid out, and see the guy that she's with also kind of look around. Kind of gives you a bit of a nod and hustles out the door as well. Right beside you, you see this plate of waffles set down, the waitress smiling. It's like, we burnt the first one, so sorry this took a little too long, but all the toppings are there. If you need anything else, sir, I'd be happy to come over. Would you like to pay with cash today?
Yeah, I'll pay with cash.
All right. She says, well, it's only $3.
Got the change.
As you
Gives
go
her
to
5.
reach for your wallet, you realize it's not there.
I look for the kid.
You can see them like walking down the street in the distance rather quickly.
I follow after her.
The waitress is like, wait. What about your breakfast? You can't just walk out.
My wallet might have been stolen. Hold on a sec. And I'll go out and say, "Hey, kid!" Yell out the door and see how they react.
See, she's down maybe 30, 40 yards in front of you. The mom looks over the guy, and then they just take off on a full-scale run down the side alley.
Fuck! And he sprints after him.
All right. Run down to this alley, turn the corner, and don't see him anywhere around. You can hear the few echoing footsteps, and you think you might have seen the kid on the other side, exit out to the other side of the street, but it's kind of hard. Beside you, just right behind you, you hear the blaring of a horn. With that, we'll swing over to Rush. You are playing Frank. So, Frank, you see Jack as he comes running outside of this building, looking down the side alley, yelling at this somebody. As you look over, you feel that crunch as the front end of your car smashes into the car in front of you as you rear end this person ahead of you. What do you do?
So it was in the was it in the parking lot of the record store, or?
Sure, if that's what you want. Her pulling into it or whatever works for you.
And I hit the person in front of me.
Yep.
So in actuality, what I had written down was that I was actually rolling into the record store in a 1973 Harley Electra Glide.
All right.
So as I rear end the car in front, it's basically everything I can do to keep the motorcycle from tipping over, and I wedge the front tire up under the bumper. And so there's a crunch, and it cracks the headlight of the bike. And I'm just like, son of a bitch. And I put the kickstand down, which the bike doesn't really do anything. It's wedged under the back bumper. And I get out and kind of walk over, and Frank's kind of a taller guy. He's a construction worker. So he's, got kind of like a blonde beard and mustache. Got some scars on his up near his forehead, on his right side. I kind of walk over and peer into the driver's seat. As the person was backing, I'm assuming was backing out of the parking spot, and I just kind of eyeball him to see if it's a man or if it's a woman.
In there, you see the door open a little bit. Then a pair of loafers step out. And it's this old man, maybe in his upper 70s, mid 70s, step out. He has like a plaid tweed jacket on, pair of pants, penny loafers. Just looks over his shoulder, turns his car off, takes his hat off and sets it down on the seat. Turns towards you, this bit of a grimace in his face, and slams his car door shut, and like this resounding slam. Goddamn kids riding your fucking Harley. He just looks at you as he's clearly pissed off.
So I'm going to pull my sunglasses off and just kind of say, well, for one, sir, I'm not exactly a kid. And two, I was just pulling into the parking lot, and you were kind of backing out without really paying a lot of attention.
I wasn't paying attention. Who's the one that rear-ended me? I have the right of way when I'm backing out of this parking spot. Some little pissy-ass motorcycle just comes in and rear-ends the back. Maybe if you didn't have sunglasses on when you're trying to ride a bike, you'd know how to ride one.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to call the police here.
Well, you go right ahead.
You see him storm into this little record cafe, yelling about some punk who rear-ended his car with a motorcycle. You can see, Jack to the side, looking down this alleyway, pissed off.
Oh, son of a bitch. Just hear him mumbling. He's not looking towards you.
Do I know Jack by sight?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Probably.
So I was just kind of, when he walks out, I was kind of pointing over at him like, Jack, what?
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 And he turns around. Oh shit, Frank. What happened to your bike?
Old people.
Ah. Yeah, man, that sucks. My wallet just got stolen.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, if you see a little blonde-haired girl, just let me know.
Yeah, I saw some little blonde-haired girl, older lady walking around down the street. Right, I just passed them as I was coming in here to pull into the record shop.
Well, at least it seems like the cops are coming anyway. Might as well not put in 2 calls, right?
No, I'm sure he's gonna have a field day with this one. Angry old man.
Oh hey, Mr. Police Officer, I got into an accident. Oh hey, by the way, I got my wallet stolen also. And he laughs.
Yeah.
Inside the shop, you can hear the music echo out, and it's like that stereotypical cheesy disco 70s music. The porn music kind of echoing in there. As you look down, you can see this funny-looking Italian guy, camera slung around his neck, sweltering down the street towards you. Checks, you're playing Vinny Serafino. As you're coming down the street, you parked a few blocks away. It's all this traffic. There's really not many places to park, so you're stuck hoofing it most of the way. And you see Jack and Frank up ahead. Susan's son, Jack, and you've seen Frank a few times here and there. Standing outside of this shop, it looks like there's been a small little car accident. You can see Jack as he's yelling down the alleyway. The two of them eventually start talking up as you're making your way. Why don't you describe Vinny for us and introduce yourself to the scene?
Yeah, so Finney's got the brill creamed hair slicked back. He's walking along and he's flared blue trousers, the matching leisure suit jacket slung over his shoulder as he swaggers his way. And as he sees the accident and the Jack and Frank, before they even spot him, he's got the camera, he's lifting it up, he's taking pictures of the scene that he can see. And he starts kind of walking in a circle round and taking pictures as he goes. Capture every bit of modern life.
So the two of you see this greasy-looking Italian guy come up. Jack, you've probably seen him around, with your mom, or, at the office, wherever it is she works and stuff. And, he's going to be the photographer of the day. Not really sure what's going on or what you all had this meeting for this morning. Some sort of small photo shoot of some sort that Susan set up for you all.
Man, there was a reason we were supposed to be here. Oh, fuck. I'm supposed to buy the music for the frickin' walk-up, right? Shh. Okay. Yeah. Shit. Come on. And you head back to the record store and be like, Benny, need to grab some music. Remember? For the wedding?
Weren't we supposed to take some pictures too?
Yeah, dude. Well, the music is my thing, but pictures too.
No, I mean, I thought we were all supposed to pose for pictures. It's one of the reasons why I brought the bike and not the car. A lot of good that did me.
Yeah, your mum wants me to, and your dad too, wants me to take some pictures in the store. Smiling faces, good memories. She's got a song for everybody.
Yeah, man, we're supposed to take a picture with some of our favorite records for the wedding, remember? Supposed to pick a record and take a picture with it. She asked us to put together her frickin' playlist, man.
They look back at you in confusion, apparently.
You didn't get Did you get a letter?
I'm sorry. I thought he was
No.
talking to Vinny.
He's looking to both of you.
Oh, no, I didn't get a letter, man. I've been out at work, pipeline and all that stuff. I got a letter that said that we were supposed to be here, and so I got the time off and showed up, man.
All right, well,
Sorry, bro.
let's get this taken care of then.
So as the three of you enter, you can see this old man at the counter on the phone. He wags his finger at you, Frank. You stay right here. The cops will be here in a few minutes. You can see him arguing with somebody on the phone, telling him that he doesn't have time to wait for him to get here and that they need to hurry up and yada yada. And with that, the camera shifts back over to Jessica as you getting things round. Your husband comes through the door, gives you a bit of a smile, hugs you. It's like, man, long morning at the office. He says, I'm just going to get a bit of a nap. I think Susan said something about getting pictures this morning. If you just want to take the car, honey, I'm just going to get a bit of a nap, get rid of this headache.
Yeah, yes, do that, but don't be mad. And she takes a step back from him and raises her hands, as if she wanted to fend him off, and says, I bought something and it's expensive, but it's necessary. We need
expensive. You bought something expensive. And whose money did you use to buy this expensive thing, Jessica?
Well, it's our money. And her voice is actually shaking as she's stepping back even more for the kitchen, and she grabs the paperwork from the table. But it will pay. We need to show that we are educated people. And
so you're calling me stupid just because I work down at the dairy factory, pulling milk every morning? No, I'm stupid. I don't have an intelligence.
I didn't say that, Michael. It's not true.
Well, what did you get? And he snaps these papers out of your hand. Encyclopedias.
Yes.
What are we going to do? Where are we going to put these encyclopedias? Do you have any idea how many encyclopedias this is? It's going to take up an entire bookshelf of useless information.
And it will be looking great above the fireplace.
And what do we need to learn from these? You can see his face, that vein in his head sort of popping out a little bit.
Well, we don't even know what's written in there, so we can learn together,
Just go. I don't have time for this right now. Okay, we'll just cancel this tomorrow. We have a nice wedding ahead of us tonight. We'll enjoy the wedding, and we'll speak about this in the morning. Understood?
But
understood.
Yes.
All right. Let's have a good night. We'll worry about this tomorrow. When they show up, I'll just cancel the order. We don't need encyclopedias. If you want anything, you can go down to the library. It's only 4 blocks away, and look at one yourself. But why don't you go? Your sister's waiting for you. I have a bit of a headache. I don't have time for this.
Yes.
He takes these papers and is shoving them down into the garbage, the copies that you had, and turns and heads towards the bedroom. You can hear the door slam shut.
She walks slowly over to the trash can and picks out the paperwork again and looks at it longingly while tears are running out of her eyes.
This shows. Oh, go ahead.
And as the tears are running down, parts of her makeup under her eyes gets drawn away, and we see that her right eye is completely black.
So as this kind of framing your face in this picture, you can see your face blurs out a little bit. And behind you, your TV kind of comes into focus. You can see the news is on, and it's cut over to a quick breaking news article or moment, and this woman sits behind a desk, and it shows a picture of the Cornell campus. The whole area has been cordoned off. You can see a bunch of police vehicles and a SWAT vehicle there. There's a lady on the television being to speak up. It seems that there is a bit of a hostage incident up at the Cornell campus today, she says. Everybody is being asked to stay out of the area. Everything's been cordoned, and the police have this well under control. It seems one, she looks at her paperwork a minute. Stuart Aiken, one of the former employees of the college, has become a bit disgruntled. He has taken up position within the science labs, shotgun in hand, has taken multiple hostages. We here at WETM 18 will keep you well informed as this hostage situation moves onward. Until then, be sure to keep your radios and television secured so you have further information, and we will put it out to you. She nods a thank you. See the screen go back, and that clicks back over to some morning talk show host on the television. And what do you do?
I stare for a few minutes longer at the paperwork and try again to imagine how great it would be to have those books above the fireplace. But, well, husband has made a decision, so I wipe away the tears, and as I'm going back for the bathroom to get my hair done, I pass the mirror in the hallway, and I see that my makeup has been moved under the eye. I rub the rest away and finally go for the bathroom to reapply it. And the hair is going to go into a ponytail for now. Really, yeah, that's basically all you can manage with that hair right now, and maybe a scarf around it a little bit, yeah. And then I will leave the house to go for the pictures.
Okay. So when you get into the car, you have a very overwhelming smell of perfume. Doesn't smell like one you really wore, but and again, you know your husband's faithful, so it must be maybe somebody else. Maybe he gave one of the other office workers a ride this morning. You drive into town, kind of off to the side streets a little bit. Most of them are clear, so you're able to get to the record shop without too much of a big deal. Have to park a few blocks away and walk the rest of the way. As you're coming around the corner and down the street, you see a couple walk past you, a woman and another man. They have the small little blonde-haired kid, and you can see she's looking at some pictures in her hand, and she has the mom is taking out the wallet and taking some money and giving it to the man beside her. And the little girl smiles at you and gives you a bit of a wave. And, wow, you have a really pretty scarf, she says as she walks by. And she kind of turns over her shoulder to wave towards you. She passes by.
And I'll wave back with a sad smile.
As you turn the corner, you see Jack and Frank and Vinny as they're entering the record shop. You see Frank's bike smashed up against the back end of another car. As you walk past that and walk into this place, an old man is on the phone. He's yelling that they need to get the police there, and he doesn't have time for them to worry about this hostage situation because some rugrat kid, as he keeps calling Frank, has crashed his motorcycle into his very fancy Volvo. The record store manager is behind the counter arguing with this old man to get back the phone. And you see the other three all standing there arguing over something about pictures and records, and you have no idea what's going on. This heat in this building seems to be, they have the AC running, so it's not quite as hot. So it's a bit of a relief from the heat outside. And yeah, the three of you also see Jessica as she walks through the door, her hair up in a ponytail. She's looking a little upset, but.
Hey, Jess. We're here.
Hey. Yeah, we are. Is everything all right?
Well, so I don't know if I've ever met Jessica or not.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you get married to her sister, so.
No.
You're the son of.
Yeah, but I don't know how much I've been involved. Okay, so.
Probably here and there. Maybe.
So I say, I say, wave hello, and I'm like, well, yeah, had a little bit of a fender bender, if such a thing can be had with a motorcycle coming in, and Jack had his wallet stolen, so it's been a little bit of a rough start, but
The rest of the day is going to be great, though.
that's right.
Yeah,
Once
I
the cops
guess
get
it
here.
can only get better.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Oh, you know.
That sound all that great.
Oh, I'm fine.
Your sister of the bride, man.
Yeah. Yay.
Kind of chuckle a little bit. Yeah, so we need to get
Yes.
somebody to look over at. I'm gonna look over at Jack and say, well, we need to get somebody when the wedding gets here. We need to get somebody to the. We need to get Aunt Jessie to the bar. Apparently.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if Michael doesn't see it.
Oh.
By the way, and she looks at Winnie. Winnie, you're taking the pictures, right?
That's right.
Can you, I didn't have power this morning, and I couldn't do my hair. And look, can you somehow make the picture so we can't see my hair that well? This is horrible.
I'll see what I can do.
Thanks.
I mean, I'm talented, so I wouldn't worry about it.
And we see a few pictures fall out of Vinny's pockets. They look like total shit. Most of the people's top of their heads are cut off and out of focus.
Lies.
Behind you, you can see the record store owner finally get his phone back. This old man slumps down on one of the chairs, just glaring at you, Frank, under these big bushy gray eyebrows. And he wags his fingers. Better stay here until the cops show up. And behind him, up on the TV, you can see this news flash come across again about Cornell campus, and there's a hostage situation going on. You can see this bit of silence as this woman is kind of staring at the screen, and then she nods and says, we're live. Just an important update on the hostage situation. It seems this one, what's his name? Stuart Aiken. Bit of information we've been able to dig up. He seems to be a former security guard up at Cornell campus in the scientific department. He's taken 14 hostages, all students and one professor hostage within the science labs. The police have this well under control. We're asking that nobody go visit the campus and stay out of distance of the situation. But she's like, oh, yeah. Well, we have breaking news. It seems that shots have been fired up at the campus. We will report back as soon as we can. And she nods a little bit, and the screen goes blank. And then it goes back over to the morning talk show host. You can see this waitress that was waiting on you, Jack, hurry over and turn up the TV a little bit. Some more people off the street kind of come in and start watching the TV and gathering around a little bit. What do you guys do?
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, that's how far. I'm not from New York. How far away is Cornell?
About a mile and a half.
Oh,
right at the top of the hill.
Yeah, it's not far away.
We won't go close to there, right? Today?
No, but if they're shooting at the campus, then kind of glance over to the old man and say, well, more than likely the cops probably aren't going to be coming here for a fender bender anytime soon.
Oh, you're going to be staying right here until those cops come, Sonny.
Look here.
You
calm your ass down. I'm not going
Whatever
anywhere.
happened to just exchanging information and going on our merry ways?
I don't have time for that. I need this to hand this into my insurance pronto. If they're still open until 10 o'clock this morning, I have a little time.
Well, I'll tell you what,
to handle this.
Bastard. Is your car damaged?
Oh, now I'm the bastard.
Yeah, because you started calling me names first. Is your car damaged? If it's not, just pull out and get the hell on out of here. How about that?
No. You see,
I'll fix the bike. You just get the hell out of here.
Said, no, we're going to handle this the proper way. I'm not going to be just shuffling this under the rug. Says I could have something happen down the road, and maybe my car won't handle right.
Well,
And
if you keep bitching, I'm gonna handle it the proper way. How about that?
Ah, damn kids.
Yeah, damn kids.
Frank.
No, I mean I was nice to the guy when I got off the motorcycle, and then here he goes. He starts off with damn kids and blah, 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 you know, kiss my ass, old man.
She's like, and walks over and flips through a few records. Look like they're old 1920s jazz bands or something.
Jesus Christ. Fucking old bastards. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. The dude just pisses me off. I tried to be a nice guy.
Vinny's camera's been clicking the whole time the argument's been going on.
You see this waitress come over to you, Jack, and she says, so I gotta charge you for those waffles, $3. Are the rest of these people sitting with you? Perhaps they would like to order and we can catch up afterwards?
Jack kind of like hesitates and then looks at Vinny and kind of like grins. You want some waffles?
So now I'm paying for your breakfast. Did you even eat the waffles?
Nah, man. They're all yours if you want to pay for them. My wallet got stolen.
Bring them the waffles. Bring me a cup of coffee. Jessica, it looks like I'm paying. Anything for you?
A coffee, thanks.
See this girl get her notepad out quickly and start jotting down these orders. So we have pancakes for you and orange juice. And what did you say, miss? A tea? Tea. What would the rest of you like?
And she for a moment she tries to speak, but as nobody's listening, she's just shutting up and looking to the ground.
I'm just going to take the notebook and the pen out of her hand with a big smile on my face. I'm going to write the order down. Waffles, 2 coffees. Frank, what do you want? Okay, lemonade.
I mean, you know, they don't have a beer, do they?
Not at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I guess a lemonade it's going to be.
So I'll write the order down on her pad and hand it back to her and say my phone number's on the bottom there as well.
She looks at it, kind of crunches her nose up a little bit. These will be right out to you. Why don't you have a seat wherever you would like, and I'll bring this right over. She looks at these again. You can see as she's headed back to the kitchen, she rips off the bottom end of this thing and drops it in the trash on her way by. Gives herself a little bit of a willy shake as she exits through the swing door in the back. You see Tom, the owner of this place, come over, puts his hand or his arm around you, Jessica. You probably know this guy, been here a lot, or seen him as well. He says, fellas, Susan told me you'd be in this morning. A few pictures taken with some of your favorite music. I have a stack of records in the back that she said to pick up. Jack, I think you had the money for those. And we will, get you guys set up free to.
What is it again?
Is there a problem?
No. I'll pay you once. I'll pay you in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna enjoy the company here.
No worries.
No problem. And she's looking up at him like her. Yeah, as if he's her honey, not Michael. Yeah.
Jack sees his opportunity to go get the albums.
He's like, all right, well, you guys make yourself at home. We can take the records, get pictures, whatever you need. You're welcome to use the sound studio in the back if you need to. And
you can drink a coffee with us, You don't have to go.
Well, to be honest, I'm worried about the old guy having a heart attack over there. You really pissed him off, Frank. I don't know if you did, but I'm going to deal with him, and maybe I'll be over. And yeah, I'd like to have a cup of coffee with you guys. You can let me know how things are going.
Oh, great. See you then.
Kind of personal that Susan didn't invite me to the wedding, but, with our history, I understand. Gives you a bit of a smile and, heads back behind the counter, getting ready to get some stuff around.
I missed. I'm sorry. I missed. Who was that again?
Tom, the record store owner.
Oh, Tom. Okay.
See this old man still up there. He sits down in the seat again, kind of looks around, getting a little more agitated. Shakes his head and glares at you under these furry brows. The waitress hurries back out. She sits down a couple oranges, a lemonade, and two more waffles to go with the two that were already there that Jack had gotten. She's like, anything else that I can get for you guys?
I'm going to take my lemonade and tell her, saying, no, thanks. And I'm going to actually walk back out to into the parking lot, out the front door. And I'm going to just kind of see if I can pull the Harley loose from the, gently from the bumper of the car. Yeah. So I can inspect his car and inspect the damage to the tire.
All right. What do the rest of you do?
This ought to be good. Jack watches Frank leave, and the old man's reaction.
Yeah, he can see that he watches Frank leave. He quickly stands up and hustles right up behind him, clearly pointing to Frank the damage that he's done on the car. It looks just like a small little nick on the back end of a bumper, because Volvos are built like trucks and you really can't do anything to them. A little bit of a scuff mark. The front of your bike is caved in. Your headlight's broken. You can see the tire's gone flat now. See, looks like he's starting to argue with Frank a little bit.
Man, what is up with this guy? Why do people get all pissed off when they're old? He looks at Vinny.
What you looking at me for?
No reason.
So you can, go ahead.
Well, I'll pull it out, and the guy keeps, bitching or whatever. I'm trying my best to just kind of ignore him, and I'm just going to look at his bumper and kind of get down low and look up underneath his bumper and just kind of look at the bike, and I'm going to kind of like point to the little tiny nick on his bumper, and I'm going to point to all the damage on the bike, and I'm going to be like, all crap aside, you've literally got a little nick on your bumper. These Volvos are built like tanks. You've got no damage. I'm willing to call it quits if you want to just call it quits, my friend. I've got to rebuild the whole front of my bike. You've got to get somebody to rub a nick off your bumper.
Maybe you should learn how to drive then. He looks around, don't see any, the cop cars or anything. Damn people just shakes his head. He's like, whatever. I don't have time for this right now. He gets over in his car, gives you one last glare from these big furry brows, puts this plaid tweed hat on, and plops down into his seat. You can see he starts up his car, gets ready, throws it in reverse as he gets ready to intentionally move forward, obviously, and just backs right into your car or your bike. His wheels go up over the front of it a little bit. You can hear the gears grind a little bit, and then he starts taking off down the street.
I just kind of watch him in disbelief. I mean, I'm just kind of like raise my hand like I'm going to yell at him, and I'm like, hey.
And further down the street, you do see his placid, little, pale, old, wrinkly hand took out just long enough to give you the finger as he drives away down around a corner. Inside, all of you could see is this old man backed over top of Frank's bike. You can see Tom behind the counter, just his eyes bulge out a little bit as he's looking at this. Over in the corner, the TV clicks back over again to this woman at the news desk. It says, updated information. It seems that the police have stormed the building. Multiple gunshots have went off. There's been no report of any life within the building. You can see she breaks up a little bit. And the police are entering the building after multiple gunshots. There's been no report of anybody responding back. And it should be only a matter of time before we can find out. You can see the screen glitches a little bit, and then the power goes out. The building goes dark. The AC kicks off. TV turns off. It's silent for it's silent for 2 or 3 moments, and then you hear this echoing boom come from off the hill that echoes down through the valley. And it's just
that happened to us, to our house as well, without the boom. I'll look out of the window.
Yeah, if you look up on the hill, you can see this huge cloud of smoke rising up off the hill, kind of getting drifted away in the breeze, kind of making its way down through the valley and across the lake. You can smell what smells like almost chemical sort of fumes drifting through the air a little bit.
What is that?
We should probably get out of here. We're only about like 2 miles away.
So
am I right?
The whole time that's going on, I'll drag my bike over out of the way, out of the middle of the parking area, and make my way back in. And just as Jack is saying, you probably need to get out of here. It's like, well, wherever we're going, I don't care what time it is. It'd be great if there was a beer, and it looks like I'm riding with someone.
But we have to take the pictures.
We do have to take the pictures.
We already took the pictures, I thought.
I think we can get the pictures another day.
When's the
quick? Everyone huddle up. We'll take a picture right here. And he kind of gets everyone together, and you can see the cloud in the background.
But,
all right, real quick.
But
jeez.
Yeah, but take care of it. Don't not my ponytail.
I'm going to say, oh, your ponytail's fine. And as I take the picture, I'm going to put rabbit ears up behind Jack and Jessica both at the same time.
All right, we got the picture. Let's get the hell out of here.
Okay, I have my car in front of the shop. Or no, I don't. I have my car 4 blocks away.
Outside, you step out, you can see people have kind of exited a lot of the other buildings around the smaller houses and stuff. The cars have pretty much just been at a standstill most of the morning anyway, so a few people step out and they look up at this hill. You can see this smoke starting to clear away a little bit. Clearly there was some sort of big explosion though. And it's kind of, the cloud of smoke is drifting down across the valley a little bit. You can see it drifting off across the lake in the distance. That strange sort of smell in the air. Down beside you as you turn, Jessica kind of glancing down, you see Fran, her 3 chihuahuas making their way in front of her. She's walking them down the street. She stops too and kind of looks up at this as it's going on. One of her chihuahuas nipping at the other one. Everybody's sort of in a bit of a shock as they look on. As you look around too, you notice the street lights don't seem to be working as another brownout's been rolling through. So people are kind of at the intersection, blaring their horns at one another, arguing who has the right of way. Everybody's looking a little bit agitated, being it's only a little after 9 in the morning, the temperatures are already skyrocketing. And it's looking like it's going to be just another sweltering, blistering sort of day in this heat. No clouds or shade in sight. And I'll throw that over to you guys. What do you do?
Sorry, Rush.
I was just going to say, I didn't realize it got this hot in New York. This far up north. Jesus.
It's humid as all hell, too, being that it's next to the lake. So it's that heat that's, just drains your energy. You immediately step out and you're sweating. Your clothes are getting soaked and humid. You're getting, that rash cratch in your pants. It's not comfortable at all.
Can I play a flashback card at this point?
Not yet, because you don't have one, but you will soon.
All right.
So who's driving? I walked here.
I have the car 4 blocks away. So Jessica would start rushing down the street past Fran, and she doesn't even look at her as she passes her and the dogs.
You can see Fran hold up her hand, get ready to say hello, and as you kind of storm past her, you hear the dogs barking at one another, and you hear a larger dog in the distance bark a little bit. As you start to move down the street, Jessica, you see a bird just drop out of the sky, landing at your feet. Then another one. And then these three other birds, they all look like crows, all swoop down, and they all start fighting with one another over these dead crows' bodies. They peck at each other. One grabs a hold of the other one's eye and pulls it from the skull. The other three of you can see Jessica. She starts to walk past this old woman and her dogs, and you hear the yipping. And Vinny, as you look down at these three dogs, you see one of them just looks like its eyes are almost bleeding a little bit. It takes on this bloodshot sort of color, and it leaps on top of the other little chihuahua. Its teeth just tearing right into the neck, and it pulls itself away. Bits of the esophagus, meat, and bone pull free from it. The other one sets on it, and within moments, the other two that are still living chihuahuas are just fighting back and forth with one another. You see a swarm of birds in the sky swarming around each other as they drop out of the sky one after another. Over on the corner, it scares the absolute shit out of you for a moment as the squirrel comes down the tree branch across the way, and it too jumps on top of one of these chihuahuas and starts biting at it. And as all this is going on, you hear a larger barking sound, and four more dogs come around the corner. One of them is dragging its owner behind it, who looks like it's been half chewed to death. Its body just limp, but his wrist is caught up in the leash of it. Looks like a German Shepherd, sort of large, powerful dog. Two other ones come around the corner, and they just set upon this woman as she's standing next to her car. And with that, you see two more people come around the corner, and this little blonde-haired girl. You recognize them immediately, Jack, as they're yelling about something. And as behind them, another pack of dogs comes around. This one followed with cats. As all these cats just swarm over these three people and this little girl clawing at them. See this girl's eye just burst apart, kind of streaming down her face. And with that, I need you all to pick a mental anguish card. Set it down in front of you.
And we can choose which one, yeah?
Yep, anyone you want. And with that, we will start with Micah, or I'm sorry, I guess Jessica. So you're going to state your card and then describe your character's situation in the scene, what's going on around them. You get to make everything up, what they see, what they do, how this affects you, and then we'll move on to the next character.
Yeah, thanks. Do I have to say which one I take, or do I just...
Nope, you can say which one you take. Yep.
Okay. So I would take the major one, actually.
Okay.
And I'm rushing down the street, like I said, and I'm having already the car in view. It's not too far away, and my feet are really, really fast on the ground. I'm like almost rushing, almost running, and I see that first pack of dogs coming around the corner, and that poor man being dragged behind. And I stop immediately in my tracks and stare at what's going on there, following with my gaze down the street as the man is dragged over the street. And one of the drivers, one of the cars driving down the street a little bit too fast, is so distracted by the dogs that he just doesn't stop, and he drives straight over that poor man who's been dragged over the street by the dogs. And I just keep staring. My mouth is hanging open, and a little bit of drool is coming from one corner of my mouth, because this is by far the most terrible thing I've seen in my whole life. And I just stay there, and I stare, and I stare.
As all three of you look, you can see Jessica stop in her tracks and that crunching, thumping sound as this car drives over top of this man who was slightly still alive. He might have had a chance, but his skull is just completely flattened, brain matter across the ground as this car thumps over him. See a girl get out, maybe in her teens, clearly a college student, and she just puts her hands to her face and starts screaming. A moment later, you can see a pack of squirrels and cats and other little animals around the area just swarm about her, crawling into her car and drag her down to the ground. A dog quickly runs over, and you can hear the flesh is just torn from her. All you can see is just a gout of blood cover across her windshield. And with that, let's see, Frank, you would be next. So you can keep the card you put down, or you can change it depending on what has happened so far. But state your card and how this affects you.
Okay. Can I get a clarifying question first?
Certainly.
So I just want to make sure. I mean, I was paying attention, but you said, was it Jessica got to the car? Or who was getting torn apart and with blood all over the windshield?
Jessica was headed towards the car. She stopped to watch this man get run over.
Oh.
The man who got ran over, the driver of that car, was a young college student who got out to scream and then was dragged to the ground by these rabid animals.
All right. So we've made it most of the way to the car. So we're actually closer to the car now than we are to the record shop.
You guys would be back a little bit because she just took off and kind of left you guys behind. But
I got you.
She's probably like a block ahead of you or so, yeah.
All right. So I actually played the moderate mental,
Okay.
because some of the things with my personality, and also given the fact that I'm a pipeline worker, I spend a lot of time out in the wilderness. So I have seen some strange animal behavior, nothing remotely like this, but a minor exposure, but enough that I'm freaking out. So as soon to be Aunt Jessica runs off down the road, and we see everything going on, these animals coming out and doing and tearing, and the guy getting run over. I'm like, oh shit. So I turn around and look at the other people, and I'm like, go and get back in the freaking record store now. And I immediately haul ass toward Jessica to try and get her and corral her back to the record store as well. So I'm gonna basically start running. I'm in pretty good shape myself, so I imagine I would catch up to her fairly quickly once she stops. And basically, I'm just gonna kind of run up when all these animals, and I'm just gonna kind of grab her by her arm and just kind of pull her and say, "We gotta go right now. Gotta go."
Awesome.
Start pulling her back down the street toward the record shop.
You see some of the other people around you too that can hear you, as you mentioned, to get back into the record shop. People also begin to kind of file into the buildings or try to get out of the way. You can see people in the cars exit out, or some of them just lock their doors or trying to huddle down in there. More stray cats come around the corners and down the alleyways. Birds are just flocking everywhere, pecking at people, tearing at their eyes and face. And with that, let's see, I got checks next. So Vinny, you would be next. You can see Jessica down the way, this man get run over, this girl getting out of the car, getting attacked. You see Frank tell you guys to get back as he runs down to get Jessica. So what card did you play? And you can change it if you want to now. It's up to you. But what did you play and what happens?
I played the minor mental anguish, which is anxiety, essentially.
Okay.
I can hear the boom, boom, boom as my heart beat speeds up in my ears. It's not the strange behaviour of the birds, the people that I'm staring at. It's the dogs. Seeing these dogs tear each other, tear other living things apart. Vinny automatically goes back to his childhood and his neighbour's pit bull. But he tried to maul him when he was a kid, and he's been scared of dogs ever since. So he watches this scene as the blood flies through the air. Maybe even the car passes by him as he's stuck there in the middle of the road, stomach knotted, cold sweat, feels the need to evacuate his bowels. And it's Frank's shouting that breaks him out of this. and without thinking, that the brain moves before the feet, move before the brain does, and he's off towards the record shop, pushing people, trying to get them through the door as he's trying to pile in behind them.
Yeah, you shove a couple people out of your way, and you feel another guy push up against your back, trying to shove you through the door as well. As people just pile into this place, it looks like quite a few have already been in there, and it's quickly filling up with more and more people. Nice, hot, sweaty bodies on this day. Temperature's starting to rise a little bit. And with that, we'd swing over to Dan. So, Jack, you can see all of this going on around you. Vinny hauls ass and runs back in. Frank, as he goes to try and get a hold of Jessica, the chaos of these animals, people getting attacked in the streets. Everybody looks panicked. What card did you play, and what happens?
I played moderate mental anguish. So he'll kind of just sit there and freeze as he watches like this swarm of birds like tearing this little girl apart, and you can kind of just like see the yellow hair, some like yellow hair strands of hair, like tufts, like flying all over the place as this murder of crows like takes her down, and he just like freezes because his brain isn't processing what's going on. And then Frank's voice kind of like snaps him out of it. And he turns to see Vinny sprinting towards the record store, and he sees Frank sprinting after his aunt, and be like, shit. And he just like, his eyes dart around the ground, and he sees a tire iron from the old man's car that just like fell out of the back as he just like ran over his bike. He grabs it as he runs after Frank to try to get his aunt.
Okay. So you catch up to Frank and Jessica fairly quickly, carrying an iron in hand. See a few cats around you. They hiss up, their arches back. You can see their faces are covered in blood. Some might be theirs, their victims. Birds swarm around. And with that, we'll take a minor break. And on Facebook, everybody send me your choice of characters who you felt is the most interesting or developed or you like. What doesn't really matter. Just vote on one character. Anybody on YouTube can do so as well.
Just send it to you in a message?
Yep.
All right.
Separately, like a personal message, because it's meant to be secret. And
we take 5 or
yeah, we can take 5 if you want. That's cool.
Okay.
Because I gotta run to the bathroom anyway. So yeah, let's take 5.
So do I get any bonus points if a cat tried to kill me in real life just there?
0.2 points, yeah. Your cat is part of the horde.
I'm back, sorry.
I'm back too.
All right.
Ouch.
Just hang out a few for Dan and we'll get it.
I'm here.
All right. Alrighty then. So, Jessica, you can pick up your card that you played and put it back in your hand. Everybody else, take the card you played, make a discard pile on the side, and take that flashback card you have and put it in your hand. From here on out, it's meant to be designed like your typical horror movies and stuff. So the first hour and a half of the game goes much slower, so it kind of slowly builds up. You'll find that the tension phases and the climaxes when you're playing the cards and stuff goes much quicker the further and further we get. So you'll probably just take real minor breaks for a few, and probably could almost actually reach the end, but we'll kind of run it and see how it goes. But yeah, they'll just start going much quicker from here through. All right. So for those of you that have flashback cards, you can play them at any point, not during a climax phase of when you do other ones. If you don't play that flashback card, you lose it. So your best bet is to play it. And when I said, play a flashback, you'll detail the flashback, what it is, anything you want. You can invoke other people if you want them to be a part of it, their choice. And you can piggyback if you want to. So that, let me get to second phase. All right. So Jack, Frank, Jessica, you guys are about a block and a half or so away from this record shop. You can see people all around being attacked by these birds, dogs, cats, squirrels, other critters around. It seems just like everything went rabid. People in the street are starting to panic a little bit and scream. You see this girl who ran over this poor man's body, just crushing his head into the pavement, get dragged into her car by these dogs, and just nothing but blood covering the inside of this thing. Now and then you can see her hand press up against the window and it just slides down a little bit. Her scream's cut off. Everybody around you starts to scream a little bit in a bit of a panic, and they're just pushing through. You feel some of these people start pressing up against you, Frank, as they're trying to push you out of the way to get past you. Jessica, you feel another man kind of rushes by, shoving you out of the way, and you hit the ground hard, falling down as he just tramples past you. Jack, you're right there as well. Inside this record shop, Vinny, more and more people just clamber in there, trying to get out of the way. You see a couple old people behind you, a bunch of younger kids, student kids, the record store owner. The waitress is huddled down in the corner a little bit, pressed right back up against the wall. And the heat is just getting hotter and hotter in here, claustrophobic. So with that, anybody who wants to go can tell me what's going on and go for it.
So Vinny looks around at the Tom, the record store owner, and his hands outstretched. Keys, give me the keys. Give me the keys. Come on.
What do you need the keys for? And you can see he's like rustling around behind the counter looking for stuff. And he hands you this big key ring. What do you?
Which one is it? Which one is it?
What do you want? What do you want?
Lock the fucking door, man.
Oh, and he quickly flips through more people around, getting pushed back further and further. I'm just slammed against the glass windows out front. A little bit of a crack appear, and it slams into it again. You can hear part of its shoulders just snapping. Slams into it again and again. Finally, its neck snaps. It lays on the ground, twitching a little bit. Another one behind it slamming into the window. These cats and squirrels just swarm over this dead dog, tearing it to pieces. Tom quickly shuffles through and hands you this key. That one. It works on the deadbolt and the lock.
Shove the key in, turn it. I'm looking up into some poor civilian face as they don't manage to make it inside.
Yeah, you see this girl, maybe 12 or 13, just looking at you, these big brown eyes. Her hands already a bit bloodied, holding up against the glass. You see this tear come down her face, this dog coming down the street behind her. Looks like a large Doberman or something. Its eyes just glaring down at her. And then it takes off and run towards her.
Not opening the door. In fact, turning the key, so it's almost breaking in the lock. He just screams, "Run!" through the door at the girl.
See her panicked face. She looks over her shoulder at this dog that's coming. She beats on the door a few more times and then just taken down by this dog. You can see she starts to scramble away. Looks back at you at this door, her hand pressing up against it, trying to, little bit of a chance as this dog just latches down onto her face. You can see part of it just kind of shatter as it covered in blood down around her. This woman beside you just looks at you in horror. This older woman, maybe in her 50s or so. She has like those large flowery hats on, this muumuu sort of dress. And she just stares at you and this kid that's outside that you let get eaten alive pretty much. You can still see she twitches a little bit. Her hand pushes against the window as this dog just stares into her. You other three see people filing in all around you. What do you do?
So the first thing I'll do is I would kind of look over at Vinny, and I was like, well, that was a pretty dick move.
You guys ain't in there yet.
Oh, sorry. I'll be quiet then.
You're a block and a half away.
I thought we made it. Okay.
Well, I'm lying on the ground, right? So
Yep.
I don't even say or scream or whatever. I do absolutely nothing. I lie on my back and I stare at the sky, and now and then a bird comes dropping from the air again and goes for a passerby here and there. And I look kind of interested at the eyes being torn out by the beaks of the birds. And it's all going like as if time is going really, really slowly. And I hear the people shouting like, "Help!" And everything is going so slowly. And if I just stay here on the ground and look into the sky, everything will be all right.
You just hear, just get the fuck up! And then you see like a cat like come lunging for your face, and then Jack with a tire iron just baseball swings it away. Just get up! And he kind of like tries to help you up.
And as you pull her up, she looks at you and smiles. "Oh, Jack. Hi."
We gotta go! And like you cut your eyes just like kind of focus on his face, and then you focus on the rest of the carnage around you.
"Oh, look. That's interesting. Shall we go?"
Yeah, and
she pats his arm reassuringly.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab her arm from the other side and hoist her like forcefully up on her feet and say, "Yep, we gotta go. We gotta go right now."
Okay.
You hear this screech as you tire iron this cat. It just smashes into a side of a car. A little ways over, as you lift Jessica to her knees, one of you on each side of her, and start shuffling forward, you can see the street starting to empty out a little bit. Between people already being taken down, getting eaten by these animals, most other people are piling into doors. As you go door to door, you can see most of them are already getting locked, and people are hiding behind, barricading these doors and stuff. Other people are climbing into cars for safety. As you reach the record store, just in time to see this little girl get mutilated, Vinny staring at her out the door, down at her, this old woman just staring ghastly at Vinny. You hear this soft growl behind you. Over your shoulder, there's a pack of dogs, maybe like medium-sized, like retrievers or something. 3 of them standing there, covered in blood already. One of them has what looks to be part of somebody's forearm or something down on the floor or ground in front of it, and it lifts its head up. You can see all of them snarl back a little bit as they slowly start to stalk. One of them is kind of going on either side of you, that pack mentality, as they begin to circle you. Vinny, you'd be seeing this outside the window as well. They're, just like a couple storefronts beside you.
So
we can
go
play
ahead.
the flashback cards now, yeah?
Yes, you can.
Can I play mine then?
Certainly. Give us a flashback and tell us all about it.
Okay. Vinny's staring at this girl. Did you say she was a brunette?
Blonde.
So
whatever.
He's staring at this girl, and it's the hand and the look on the face that takes him back. It's not an accusatory look. It's more of a question why look. As he sees the light goes out in her eyes, and he thinks back to the last time they came out to the lake. Late at night, mist rolling in. He's with a girl, a model. She's getting shots taken for her portfolio, and he takes her out to the lake, in the middle of the lake, in this rickety wooden boat. And as he's taking pictures, he needs to change the film in his camera. And the humid air condensation, he drops the film canister, and as he tries to grab it, this boat shakes, and there's a splash. And when he looks up, the girl's gone. And as he looks around, he gets a bit anxious, and he shakes the boat some more, and then he falls in the water, Kramer landing with a boom in the bottom of the boat. Vinny's not a swimmer, and he struggles to get back to the surface, and he can feel something tugging at his leg, a hand perhaps, but he kicks it away, frantically, climbing back on the boat. Sits there, lies there, soaking wet, getting his breath back. And finally, he looks along the water, and all he can see, 40, 50 yards in the distance, is the hand, just like the little girls outside the shops now, as the life goes out of it and sinks.
All right. So the camera kind of fades and shows this flashback. You see that recognition in Vinny's face and that correspondence to this small girl and this model he was taking pictures of. Would anybody like to piggyback off of that? Or whoever wants to go next can tell me what's going on.
I'll give it a shot.
Go for it.
So, I'm gonna. So you said we're getting surrounded by these pack of wild dogs.
Like 3 medium-sized, mangy looking. You can tell that they're definitely stray dogs. The city is known for both a lot of stray dogs and the woodlands around it, as well as cats. Yeah, you can see they're mangy looking, covered in a bit of a gore. It's clear some of it's theirs as well. You can see gashes and stuff as they've been beaten down, but they're covered in other people's gore as well.
Yeah. So as we're trying to move woozy Jessica back to the record store, and we get surrounded right out in front of the store, I'm going to go ahead and being a motorcycle riding construction worker, guys like that typically carried some sort of knife or pocket knife or something like that. So I'm going to pull my knife out for the dogs, and then I'm going to go ahead and play my flashback card as well.
Okay. Go for it.
So as he pulls a knife and he turns to face the dogs, there's kind of a cut to a scene where working on working out on a pipeline out in the plains, area, and there was a running a pipeline through a wooded area, and a lot of times depending on how remote you were, they would set up like little tents or barracks or whatever that you'd stay in while you're running a piece of pipe. And an incident where it was the end of a day, the guys got into a little bit too much drink, and wandered off, goofing off into the woods and whatnot. And I had said earlier that that Frank had some scars above his on the right side, up above on his forehead, above his brow, and there was a time when you walking through the woods, hooting and hollering, making a bunch of noise, acting like an idiot, as drunk people will do. Happened upon a cougar, mountain lion, that was out there, who was apparently Frank had wandered a little too close to, I guess, to her den, and Frank got set upon by this cougar and confronted and kind of chased through the woods a little bit as he was trying to get away from her, and kind of got a little lost and ended up looking out over a river from a big rocky cliff that was way up high, about 100 feet or so, 150 feet. And he turned around to try and face the cougar, and the mama cougar just kind of lunged at him, not wasting any time, and took a big swipe, caught him in the face. And he's tried to swipe at her with a knife, and it ended up pitching him backwards off the cliff into the river. Busted him up pretty good, but nothing too bad. But he remembers vividly the horrible fear he felt as he was falling, and from that cliff, and he just kind of shakes his head and tries to shake the cobwebs out of it, and bring himself back to reality as he's facing these dogs, and he's got that knife, and he's kind of trying to pull Jack and Jessica both toward the door, trying to keep himself as best he can between the dogs and the two of them. And finally was able to kind of regain his own composure and tell the two of them, say, we got to get to the door. We got to get to the door and get inside. And I'm just going to try and kind of hold the animals at bay with a knife as best I can.
You can see they start to circle around a bit, kind of putting your backs all up against this door. You can see outside the window, Vinny, Jack backs up a little bit. Jessica backs up a little bit. Frank, these dogs start to surround him a little bit. Jessica and Jack, what are you guys doing? You can see Frank as he gets out his knife, kind of almost, protective sort of thing, as he pushes both of you back to the door, telling you got to get inside. Says you, Vinny, just staring out the door at you.
Jack, you're going first.
I can't think of anything at the moment, so you can go ahead if you have something.
Okay. So Frank pushes Jessica over to the door, and she looks at Winnie, him being on the other side of the glass, and she smiles a little bit. Well, not a little bit, but totally crazed out, more or less. She smiles at him and waves as she's going for the door. And to the left and to the right, you see the animals coming for the people who are fleeing from that building. And she's just walking through it like through a sea of crazed animals. And the door is closed, right?
Yeah, he closed and locked it.
And she stretches out her arm and goes for the door handle. And as nothing happens, she looks up again at Winnie, smiling, as if saying, "Hey, why is the door closed?"
Yeah, you see Jessica, she goes for the door. Frank and Jack gives it a bit of a tug, a few more tugs, and you realize that Vinny or somebody from apparently on the inside has locked this door. It's not opening unless you can break it down or something.
Jack looks around. Is there any opening to try to go around back?
Yeah, there's an alleyway on the side of the building that would sort of go back around to the next street over where the back would be.
Guys, we need to go around the back. And he kind of just locks eyes with the lead dog in the middle.
But Winnie is here.
We need to go down the alley now.
Oh, okay.
And he'd kind of just like guide her and kind of like keep himself between her and the dog.
She keeps on smiling like a little idiot as she follows him.
Frank, the alley. If we go in there, they can't get around us.
So I'll start kind of backing alongside with Jack and just say, I'm with you.
We kind of like have this tense, like kind of backup standoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you keep your backs up to the glass. You know, these dogs in front of you. You slide over a little bit. Jack, as you lead Jessica to the side of the alley, start to go around the corner. Frank, you in between them with your blade in hand. The dogs continue to kind of have that peck mentality and circle around you a little bit, keeping you just a few feet away. As you turn around this back alley, Jessica, you disappear around the corner. Jack, and then Frank. You see how the dogs come around a little bit, and they break out in a full run towards you. What do you guys do?
Jessica laughs suddenly in a high-pitched voice and screams almost, "Oh, they're coming for us!"
Yeah.
I look around for a fire escape.
Yeah, you can see down the alley, there's the fire escape you're going to grab a hold of and pull the ladder down, climbs up onto the rooftop area. You can also see the side door to the building. It hangs open a couple inches.
Fuck, guys! Fire escape, now! And he'd kind of like hop up and grab it, and it like falls down as he puts his weight on it.
Yeah, it comes crashing down. It's right there. You can go right on up the ladder.
Does it look like we're going to be able to get up the ladder before the dogs get there?
If you hurry.
Well, I would like to hurry.
So, yeah, you pull that down. When you see this ladder come down, Jessica, you hear Jack yelling at you for to get up there. You see Frank coming behind you. These dogs growling as they make a beeline, just a full-on run towards you. What do you do, Jessica?
Almost a little bit accusingly at Jack that he's so unfriendly. But she's used to be doing what she's been being told, so she does, and runs for the ladder and climbs up after him.
You quickly climb up. It goes up to like a simple little grate with the stairs that go up to the top of the roof. Simple 2-story sized building. You can quickly climb up there. Jack is Frank. Both of you are able to get up there before the dog is actually fully set upon you. Frank probably went up last, so excuse me. You can feel one grab a hold of your shoe. Its teeth sink into your foot, just enough to give you notice that it's actually there. It shakes your leg a little bit. As you pull free, your shoe drops down, and these 3 dogs just tear into the shoe, tearing it back and forth between each other. As you make yourself up this last bit of ladder, you can see some of them jump, kind of put their paws up on the ladder and stuff. Obviously can't climb up to the first grate, and then if you want to go up to the rooftop or wherever, you can.
So as I lose my shoe, I was going to kind of look down and be like, damn it, it's one of my riding shoes. How high up is the roof?
A simple 2-story building, so what, 15, 17 feet.
Okay. And how high up is the first grate?
It would be halfway the first story, halfway. So 10 feet or so. So
I'll probably climb to the first grate and then just kind of stop and start basically just trying to catch my breath. When can we play the other cards?
It'll be a few moments.
Okay. All right. So just as I reach the first grade, Frank will stop and just kind of grip hold of the ladder and look down at the dogs, and then kind of look up to where the other two, I'm assuming the other two climbed all the way up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm following Jack.
So I look up at them and look back down and just kind of be like, oh shit.
Inside, next to you, Vinny, this old woman just stares at you. People are panicked a little bit. It's getting hotter and hotter in here. In the back side of the place, people are just kind of crowded up. Outside, you see a few of these dogs stroll across the street, disperse down some of the alleyways. Birds fly overhead, and things are slowly kind of emptying out. It doesn't quite look like a complete animal war zone out there, as the animals move on to find better prey that aren't shacked up at the moment. And as you look out, this old woman beside you continues to just glare at you. And finally, she just shakes her head and turns away. As you look around you, there's maybe 100 people in this small building. In the far back, you can see Tom, the record store owner, as he's trying to shuffle people into the back room and maybe get out the back or something. He disappears through the door. A couple more people do. And then you hear his scream as it echoes through this place. You can hear the sound of what looks to be some sort of, or sounds like maybe some sort of fight or something's going on in the back. It would be the kitchen area. You can hear pots and pans rattle a little bit, and then you hear that heavy slam as somebody's head or something gets smashed by a pan. And then the door swings open, and you see the waitress that was serving you fellows earlier standing over top of Tom. She has what looks to be a black iron frying pan in her hand. He lays on the floor, his head caved in. She turns around and just rushes into this crowd, swinging this thing like crazy, cracking people's heads. Other people start to panic as well, and they begin to fight with one another. And within just seconds, everybody's starting to scream. It's absolute chaos in this place. As you turn and look out the front door towards the street, you see a man standing on top of a car. He's got a baseball bat in his hand. Inside are 3 people, looks like a woman and 2 children, and he's smashing the windshield with this bat. Anybody up on the rooftop would see that as well. And actually, probably, Frank, you would be able to see that from the grate where you're at, because it's straight out on the main street. As you climb up onto the rooftop, Jack and Jessica, do you want to play your flashback card for your last chance, Jack?
Yeah. So when he sees the man with the bat just like smashing the car, he flashes back to his childhood, like out in the gorges and the forests of upstate New York with his brother, like hunting frogs and stuff like that. And his brother caught one, and it's kind of like squirming in his hands. And he kind of like teases Jack with it. This is his older brother. And he says, "Do you want to see what its insides look like?" And Jack just vigorously shakes his head no. And he just drops the frog and stomps on it. And they start fighting. Jack kind of like pushes him, and then his brother pushes back, and then Jack like pushes really, really hard, and he just like doubles back, falls over, and cracks his head. And that noise reminds him of the noise of the bat just like smashing into the steel. And he just like pops back.
You get this sickening sound, and as you look down at this man, you can hear that sound of your brother's skull hitting the rock and splitting open a little bit. And you realize that it wasn't the sound of that bat hitting the car and the windshield so much as it was the fact that this woman had stepped out screaming this man to stop, and it's the sound of his bat connecting with her skull, and it just smashes against the side of her car. He pulls it away, a bit of blown sinew hanging off the steam brain matter, smashes it again into her head, and then a third time. Jessica, behind you, you see a man coming up over top of what looks to be like on the back side of the building, a simple like sewer, or not a sewer drain, a water drain pipe type thing that's been bolted to the side of the building. We see he climbs up almost like a ladder, and he pulls himself up over the top of this. In his hand, he holds just an old rusted-looking fork. You can see he wears this white, dirty apron covered in a bit of grease. He's got a waffle iron that's all bloody in his other hand. And he starts moving across the rooftop towards the two of you. And with that, everybody can play a card. It doesn't matter if it's mental anguish or physical injury. That's totally your choice. We're going to be starting with Rush this time. You are on the grate. So go ahead and choose a card. And what do we got? Frank, why don't you tell me what you played and how that figures into what is going on? Below you can see the dogs as they kind of circle around this ladder, jumping up, trying to get to you. The rooftop itself is probably another 10 feet above. You probably could see the guy maybe moving his way across a little bit. Or you can hear him at least.
I hate to ask this, but can I send you a quick message first?
Yeah.
All right. Give me 1 second, guys, because...
Yeah, totally. For sure.
All right, cool. So I'm going to play my minor mental anguish here. And as I'm on the landing there and I'm seeing everything else that's going on, it seems to be that's really not my biggest concern. I keep looking like down at the dogs and then up at where Jack and Jessica are. And I start to make my way the rest of the way up the ladder to the roof and really struggling more than I probably should to get up the ladder. Especially for being, you know, a strong and in shape guy. And by the time I get to the top and I just kind of roll myself over onto the roof and away from the edge, Frank is just completely covered in sweat. And it takes a few more minutes to keep to really get to catching his breath again before he finally stands up and walks over with a nervous look in his face and rejoins Jack and Jessica on the roof, and slips the knife back into its little sheath that he has on his belt. He had it in his hand the whole way in case he had to literally stab a dog off the ladder coming as he was trying to get up. And he just kind of walks over and doesn't really say anything. He just seems to be more intent on catching his breath. And then finally looks over and, you know, being the kind of guy that Frank is, you know, not too concerned with Jack so much, but he kind of pats Jessica on the back one time and says, are you okay? Are you guys okay? Are you both okay?
As you're coming up that ladder, looking down at the dogs below you, you feel your heart thumping. You can literally hear the thumping of your heart in your ears. You can feel it in your chest pounding against your ribs. And as you get about halfway up there, it's almost like your vision takes on this hazy, reddish sort of glow. When you think back to that time when you were trying to fight off that cougar and falling into that ravine, some of the others, how they never even showed up to help you. And when you told them the story, they just thought it was funny, given that you nearly lost your eye and half your face. And it just kind of pisses you off a little bit. And with that, what do we got next?
Frank, are you all right? You don't look so good.
I don't know. The ladder was a little rough on me. I just kind of give him a wary eye.
Vinny, what did you play and what happens?
So I played the moderate physical injury card.
All right.
So Vinny's still at the door. He's still got this keychain. The key's still in the lock. And he's looking back over his shoulder as he hears this ruckus in the back room. And as the door opens and the waitress comes out, bloody frying pan in hand, it starts swinging it at the random people who are locked in here. But he's fucking no, what the, come on, what is going on? And he starts trying to turn the key in the lock as all hell breaks loose in here. But he's turned it too far when he locked the door. He's wrestling with it. Eventually, though, he hears a snick of the lock as it turns. And as he opens the door, he takes one last look back. But the door's a few inches open. And as he takes his attention away, he doesn't see the shape of the lone dog as it bounds towards the open door and the hand that's holding it open. And he just feels the around his fingers. And with a scream, he falls out of the door. The dog latched onto his hand. And he's trying desperately to punch it, kick it, do anything he can to get this dog off, even trying to bite it in the ear. But eventually he hears the crunch as his fingers are taken off mid-joint, just at the knuckle. But as the dog chows through them, he shoves it into this record store and slams the door behind it, leaning against it.
Oh, it's fucked up.
So as you kind of push you back up to this door and slide down, you're looking out into the street, and you just see this woman getting her head caved in by a baseball bat. This guy hops off the hood of the car, her body slumps to the ground. He hurries back and swings open this back door, grabbing a kid. Looks like he's probably a student kid, maybe in his late teens or early 20s, and just dragging him from the back of the car. And the two are fighting back and forth. And it looks like this guy with the bat's getting ready to crush in this younger kid's skull. And then he had like mid-swing, he stops. The two of them stare at one another for a moment. And you see blood trickling down this young kid's face. And both of them turn their heads towards you, Vinny. Stare at you for a moment. And you see both of them kind of walk around the edge of the car, one around the front, one around the back, as they start to make their way towards you. And with that, what do we got next? So Jack, you're up on the rooftop. You see Frank as he comes up over, looking sweaty, disturbed. Jessica's there. As you turn to look, you see this man come up over the other end of the building, up the sewer drain. This bloody fork in one hand and this bloody waffle maker, the cord dragging across the ground in the other. Pretty sure there's a bit of brain matter or something on the edge of it, still steaming from the heat of the griddle.
Yeah, so I think Jack would be concerned with Frank and be like, "Hey man, you okay?" And he can be like checking him out since he looks really pale. And he wouldn't see this guy coming up behind him with a waffle iron. I played a moderate injury card. So like Frank just is like, his vision is all blurred. And you just hear a clunk as Jack just gets smacked over the back of the head with the waffle iron, and this guy just like straddles him and like smacks him again in like the side of his shoulder as he's just like struggling against him, and he puts up the waffle iron to his face and just like burns it. So you see Jack getting like fucked up by this guy basically.
Nice. Yeah. As it pulls this waffle iron away, you got that griddle thing stuck to the side of your face. It's all potch-marked, half burnt with these burns, a little bit of a patchy on the side of your head. Down below, you hear that sound of that dog smashing against poor Vinny. And as your head kind of swings around from getting blasted by this thing, you look down, you're kind of hanging over the edge of the building, looking down to see Vinny sitting on the ground, his back against the door, his hand bloodied, and these two people coming around the car towards him. And with that, go to Micah. So Jessica, you see Jack getting beat by a waffle iron. This guy swings back, hitting him once, twice, putting the griddle against his face. And you see his other hand come around as he gets ready to jab this fork into his neck. Frank is looking a little sweaty, tense.
Jessica's staring at the little group on the roof, and the whole time before she didn't really look concerned. It was like a walk in the park, because apparently her brain was over the ocean for a moment, but as she's staring, she hunkers down suddenly, and tears again stream down her face. But then, after a few seconds only, her head just snaps around back to the group, and she looks as if she means business. She grabs her purse and runs over for the group and whacks that man with her purse, shouting, "I'm not a whore, I'm not a bitch, and it's our money. It's not only yours, Michael. You will never ever do this to me again. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you." And boom, 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 that thing goes flying. That's, by the way, a minor mental anguish.
Gotcha.
God damn.
So you see her beating this guy. He steps forward a little bit. You feel his boot as it crushes down on your hand, Jack, as you're trying to get yourself off the ground. And you see some lipstick roll across the ground, checks kind of drifting through the air, bits of makeup and other things from this woman's purse raining down around you. This man stumbles forward a little bit, and you can see he makes this grunt sound as he gets hit this last time. And then it's silent for a moment, and then you just hear that sudden slam as he falls over the side of this building. In front of you, Vinny, you see this man come cascading down and just smash onto the ground in front of you. His head splits open. You can see one of his legs is caught behind his back, so it snaps. The bone in the thigh area sticks out. These two people coming around the car stop long enough to look at the body. They look up at the rooftop where they can see Jessica standing up there along with Frank. Wouldn't see you, Jack, since you're on the ground. Their eyes look up at them and back at you, Vinny, and up at them. And that would be the end of that confrontation thing. So everybody send me your choice for character, and we will jump into the next act. There we go. All right. And let me double check over here. All right, Vinny, put your card, one of those cards that you discarded, back in your hand. Everybody else, put your flashback into your hand. Jessica, you would add your flashback for the first time. And with that, we'll swing in to the next act. Vinny, your back is against the door. This man's body crushed in front of you. These two other ones looking at you. They're not making any move yet. One carries a bat. You can see the other one is just fists. He doesn't have any weapons or anything. But he looks around, stops beside the trunk of this car, and see him reach over and rip off the antenna on the back of it. Looks at it a little bit, makes like a jabbing motion, seems satisfied, and then starts to walk towards you again. Jessica, Jack, Frank, you guys are all on the rooftop. As you pick yourself up, Jack, you can see this man knocked over the top of the rooftop by Jessica, lies on the ground below. Vinny, these two people coming towards him. Inside, you can hear the echoes of screams and just chaos erupting below you. And as you look down the streets and get a vantage of this area, just a simple little business area that you're in, small shops and market streets and stuff. Here and there, you can see people fighting with another. Some people are fighting with animals. Some are fighting with one another. You can see this old man in a pleated tweed jacket standing atop of a Volvo. In his hands, he holds what looks to be a spare tire, and it's above his head, and he's just bringing it down on top of a kid. And with that, whoever wants to take it can go for it.
Jessica's looking after the man who's dropping down to the street, and she looks back to the others, smiling proudly, and then nods. Well, what do we do now? Winnie is downstairs, I think.
So Frank is going to be a little concerned watching the spectacle that was Jessica as she whaled this man with her purse right off the edge of the roof, particularly with some of the comments that she made. And I kind of reached down and grabbed Jack and pull him to his feet, and then just kind of look over at Jessica and just kind of stick my hands out and be like, "Are you all right there, Aunt Jessica?"
Absolutely. And she checks her purse. A few items are missing, but she rummages through it, takes out a lipstick and a mirror, and reapplies her lipstick, smacks her lips, and then looks downstairs again over that edge. I'm absolutely fine. I never felt better.
Okay. Note to self: don't piss off Aunt Jessica while she's got her purse. And then turn toward Jack and like grab him by his lapels and try and pull him up, make sure he's all right. I'm like, "Are you all right there, buddy?"
I've been better. And he has a waffle burn on his face.
It's nothing. Just
Am I okay? Did he burn me?
Maybe just a little.
All right, good.
But it might be able probably heal pretty good. Trying
It's
my
like
best.
really bad. It's like a waffle on his cheek. It's like really bad.
I'm doing my best to lie. It'll be fine, Jack. Trust me. It won't be nothing like this. And I point up to the scars on my forehead. It's like, besides, dude, chicks dig scars, man.
And Jess, can I see your mirror?
Sure. She hands it over.
I step around behind Jack and start looking at Jessica, like shaking my head, going, "No."
Oh, fuck!
She's just smiling at you.
I don't think they like these kind of scars.
Dude, you'll be a hit at the Waffle House.
Yeah, and then he kind of just...
Come on, Jack, that's funny. Waffle House.
He just frowns.
It's gonna be all right, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to do but try and laugh.
Yeah, and I guess he would see these people kind of crossing the street and walking towards him, and he would see the other people fighting with each other, and he'd probably put two and two together and realize that whatever's going on might affect people too. And he'd kind of try to get a better view of what's going on.
Right. And you'll notice a lot of these animals, their eyes were almost just completely red, like all the blood veins and stuff just blue in their eyes. It's just this solid reddish color. These people, when you look at them, they have that solid same red to their eyes. If you look around at the other ones next to you, Jessica looks fine. Frank's eyes, though, you can see they have that pinkish tint to them, starting to get pretty bloodshot.
Okay. Would he see where Vinny is?
Yep, he'd be straight down about 20 feet below you on the ground. But yeah, you can definitely see him.
Probably yell out, "Vinny! Allie!"
Yeah, you could hear him up above you yelling, Vinny.
Yeah, his attention automatically snaps up above him, just to see the face of Jack peering out above the ledge.
You just see him pointing off to your right.
He's in the middle of wrapping the strap of his camera around his fingers to stop the bleeding.
You see
himself. Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say he pushes himself to his feet and Gives it a 1, 2, go, and bolts.
As soon as you make the move to actually run, these two people are on you like just like rabid animals, and they take off after you. Before that, they're a little cautious, I suppose. But yeah, as soon as you move, they take off. They're right on your heels. Come around that corner. You can see the ladder leading up to the grate above, and then up to the fire escape, up to this rooftop area.
I'd look around for the waffle iron and try to throw it at one of them.
Yeah, go for it. What happens?
I throw it at one of them, but it's a little short, and it just catches him in the knee, causing him to tumble.
You hear the band hits the ground behind you. Vinny, turn just in time as your hands grab a hold of these bars to start climbing up. One hits the ground hard. The other one kind of trips over him a little bit, stumbles, giving you that small moment of opportunity, assuming you want to take it.
Yeah, scrambling up the ladder. Doing the best to grimace as his hand, it smacks off one of the bars. His bloody fingers making it a bit slick to climb up.
Get up the ladder to the escape. You can roll that ladder up as well, and up the main steps to the rooftop. Let's see. Jessica, she's fixing her makeup. Jack, this head bit bloodied, bludgeoned a little bit. The whole side of his face looks like a waffle. And Frank, as he's seems pretty sure that it's going to make him, or make Jack hotter in the end, but standing there, what do you guys do?
So Winnie's what happened to Winnie's fingers? Just making sure.
They get bit off by a dog.
Okay, so Jessica looks at Winnie, and now that he's so close, she can see that wound on his fingers, or missing fingers, and she stares at it for a moment again with a blank stare. And I would like to play my flashback card.
Alrighty.
So first she's rushing over immediately, pulling her scarf from her head and tries to wrap it around his hand. Oh, what's this? This must hurt, Vinny. This must hurt so much. And she's babbling and babbling, and while we hear that babbling, the camera goes a little blurry and reappears as a younger Jessica goes back down the street to her home, goes inside into the hallway, puts her keys into that little box next to the door, and shouts, "Michael, I'm back. I was shopping." And you hear a snort from above. "Shopping?" "Yes, I got some nice things for the house, and the house now isn't furnished too well yet. They must have been married only for a few weeks maybe." And she excitedly rushes up upstairs and shows Michael, who's already looking pissed, what she bought. And he gets angrier and angrier, and she realizes that, and gets, her voice is getting more silent and more silent with every item she shows. And finally, as she's done, he walks up to her, and we don't hear what he's saying, what he's whispering in her ear, but we hear the crack of her fingers as he grabs her hand. At first it looks lovingly, but then we hear the crack, and he breaks her fingers in punishment, and that's the first time he abuses her in their marriage. And she's reminded of that as she sees those bitten fingers of Winnie's.
Nice. So she hurries over Vinny, using her scarf to bandage up her hand, your hand, the best she can. Whoever wants to take it from there.
So, just to make sure I'm clear, so we were able to get back down from the roof by which means again?
You're still up there at the moment.
Oh, okay. So Vinny came up to us.
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So I'll walk over and just kind of look at the blood on his hands and whatnot, and just take a look at his wound and be like, good God, and just get kind of pissed about it and be like, damn it, and just start getting really aggravated, like what, looking over at the man in the tweed jacket. There's obviously the same one that hit my motorcycle.
Yep.
And I'm just like, what in the hell is this bullshit? And just really getting aggravated by the whole situation. Really, I was like, what the hell is going on?
Hey, Frank, relax. We don't think well when we're angry, right?
How in the hell is anybody supposed to think? Well, the fucking dogs are attacking everybody. The animals are attacking everybody. The people are attacking everybody. What the shit? Dude stuck a waffle iron in your effing face.
If someone hurts you, it usually is your own fault. That's what Michael says. Jessica's mumbling as she's still fixing that makeshift bandage around Winnie's fingers.
Michael's an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see that. That's really what he told you. That's what he tells you.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Where's he?
I don't know.
Where is he?
Maybe, and she looks over her shoulder. Maybe one of the birds took his eyes. Do you think? And she's smiling in delight. She's totally gone. You've never seen her that way. She's absolutely gone.
I see it. Well, yeah, I might have a word or two for him if he was here. Freaking Jesus Christ, what a bastard.
Down below, you can hear the shattering sound as the windows to this record cafe burst apart. People just pile out of the windows, some of them looking bloodied up, cut up. They just race into the street. A dozen people in one direction, a dozen in the other. And as they start to run, you see some that are trying to run away. Other ones seem to be chasing the people who are trying to get away. Some of them stop, shake their heads a little bit, and then just take after the ones that are running away. Other people begin fighting with one another. You see Tom come out. Almost the whole side of his head is caved in. He looks like he should be dead, but he just kind of drags himself along slowly. And he comes up behind what looks to be, another college student, maybe early 20s, who's standing on the side, almost in horror of what's going on, and grabs a hold of this guy's leg, pulling him down and sets upon him. People are coming out with forks, butcher knives, cleavers. One person has a couple record shards that they've broken apart and they're stabbing each other with. And it's just absolutely chaos in the street below. It's hard to tell who's actually the attackers, who's the aggressors, and who isn't. And then you hear a gunshot ring out, and another, and a third, and then it's almost like rapid fire as it echoes down these streets. And you see two cops come around the corner, just unloading their bullets on these people, dropping them. They quickly drop it out and put another round in and start shooting more people. You see one of them look up in your direction. His eyes are clearly red, his face streaked with blood, and he points to where the four of you are. And you see these two cops run towards the side to the, where this alleyway is and this fire escape, as they look like they're clearly going for that. Other people also stop and turn, noticing these cops going in that direction. And it's almost like this horde as they slowly start to move in towards your position up on this rooftop. The cops going down the side alley, people standing down below you, yelling at you to get down off the roof, to come fight like men and not be cowards. You can hear the rattling of the sewer drains behind you. What do you guys do?
I'm gonna use a flashback card.
Okay.
So when Jack sees Tom just like pulling himself along with his lifeless legs, he flashes back to his brother and how he was saying he couldn't move his legs. Help me. And he just runs. He's like 7.
Yeah, the camera just shows you running into the distance down this forest path, and your brother yelling for help. You can't feel his legs to help him, Jack. And it just kind of echoes off. You actually see as you running out of the forest before it snaps back to show the 4 of you on the rooftop.
We need to go. And he just like hurriedly look around at what our options are.
It's getting surrounded pretty quickly. You know that the police are coming down the alleyway. You can hear the clicking of their shoes on the cobblestones. The snap as they put another round of clips into their guns. It snaps into place. And you hear that chink, 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 chink because they pull the ladder down. A bunch of other people stand down in front of this building. The glass, some of them picking up the bit glass shards and other things they can use as weapons, just waiting rather patiently for you guys to come down. College student over on the side begins to climb up the sewer drain, pulling himself up.
Sewer drain on the roof?
Yep. Well, not the sewer drain, but I don't know what they're called, the water pipes that come down the side of the buildings that are like bolted into the walls.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No drains. If it's a flat roof building, they gotta have a drains.
Yep.
Does the college student have red eyes?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna golf swing at his head.
With the waffle iron?
No, he still has the tire iron, man.
Oh, yeah.
Waffle iron's gone, though.
So, yeah, describe what happens.
Yeah, he kind of just like he says, "We gotta go," and he looks around. He sees the ladder just drop at the fire escape, and he's like, "Shit, can't go that way." And he keeps looking around, and he sees this head with red eyes pop up near the gutter, and once it kind of clicks in his head what's going on, he runs over and tries to hit the head just like he hit the cat to try to get him off of the roof. And he does, just smashes into him. You just see like his eye go flying. Just like pops like Glenn from The Walking Dead when he gets hit with a bat. He just falls backwards and you just hear a crack as he drops. And he looks down. Is the alleyway relatively clear?
For the moment, yep.
Guys, this way! And he'll kind of like guide Jess over to the gutter.
Okay.
It's a pretty easy climb down because it's bolted into the side of the building, so it's almost like a ladder itself down the side of this building. Vinny, you see, as she lets go and just heads over to the side. Frank, I believe you still have a flashback card, right?
No, I used mine.
Oh, did you?
I had the cougar attack.
Oh, everybody used this. Okay. Oh, no, you should have another one for last round. You've got to pick it back up again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Just in case you want to use it before it goes into the next scene. If not, that's perfectly fine.
No, I'm good.
Good.
Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, you guys can easily climb down if you want to. It's up to you.
So as Frank gets over to the ladder, looking down, he immediately gets like really frustrated again. And he's like, just like shaking his hands. He's like, fucking ladder. God damn it. Like that, like through clenched teeth, and immediately starts to sweat again. And as he watches everybody else go climb down the ladder to the alley. And as they get down to toward the bottom, he still hasn't started down the ladder yet. It's just kind of standing there for a minute, like,
Frank, get your ass down here.
So he'll after wasting plenty of time, he finally like gets down and like on all fours and like kicks his legs over gingerly and starts making his way really slowly down the ladder, like excruciatingly slow, until he gets to about the halfway to where the grate is again, and then it'll finally start to speed up a little bit. And when he gets down to the alleyway, he's just covered in sweat again, and visibly agitated and out of breath. Which should put all of us in the alley.
Yep. So you all stand here in this alleyway. Up top, you can hear the running of footsteps, and over the edge appears one of these cops, just blood-streaked face, red eyes. And you can see he reaches down quickly, bringing his revolver up over the top of this place, getting ready to fire off his shots. His partner also comes up around the side, peering down at you. If you look down your left, down the alleyway, it goes out to the main street that's still just in total chaos. You see this old man in the tweed jacket walk by, carrying this bloody spare tire that he has along the side of him. See other people, a couple of them kind of walk by. If you look down the opposite way to the opposite street on the other end, you can see 3 dogs just tearing apart an older woman on the ground. Vinny, as you look, you notice it's that same woman that was in the building with you who was giving you the dirty looks, wearing her muumuu. What would you like to do?
Jess, where'd you park your car?
She points first in one direction, then in the other, then into a third, and says, I think no, there? Yes, 4 blocks.
As she points in the direction of her car, you can hear a footstep, and then you see that old man come back around the corner again. He looks in your direction, this bloody spare tire. He looks directly at you, Frank, and you can see his brows furrow a little bit, and glares at you, and he starts walking towards you. Then you see another man behind him come around the corner, carrying just a large cobblestone boulder that's all bloodied. And then a moment behind him, you see this last man come around. One of his eyes is gone. The whole side of his face is covered in gore. He has a large burn on his chest, shirtless. Jessica, you see Michael as he comes around the corner, staring. He looks around, and then he stares at you, and he just points his finger at you and breaks off into a run. And with that, everybody play a card. We will be starting with Frank this time. Or no, I'm sorry, we're going to start with Vinny this time.
Do we discard the card we played before?
Yep. It goes into your discard.
So that's completely gone now. All right.
All right. And with that, Vinny, you are up first. So let me know what you played and what do you do?
I'm going to play Major Mental Anguish.
All right.
At this point. So as we've all been making our way into the alley, I imagine Vinny's standing slightly behind everyone, and you can hear him mumbling to himself. It sort of sounds like a prayer, and it builds and it builds and it builds. And as these blood-soaked, weapon-wielding men start making their way towards us, you can hear the words getting louder and louder. And you can hear him say, "For behold, the Lord will come in fire, and his chariots like the whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For the Lord will execute judgment by his fire and sword on all flesh, and those slain by the Lord will be many." She gets a wee bit of religious mania.
Vinny, you can see him just in this utter panic as he's reciting these words over and over. Jack, you get down to this. You can see, I guess it would be your Uncle Michael as he comes around the corner. One eye is missing, bloodied up. As he's pointing a finger at your Aunt Jessica. You see this old man, the tweed jacket with this bloodied spare tire that he's getting ready to hoist above his head. And this other man that looks like almost like he tore just a sewer pipe or something out of the ground. It's just a broken thing of cement at the end of a pipe. And he kind of heaves it up on his shoulder, getting it with two hands, getting ready to battle swing this thing. What do you do? Or what did you play and what happens?
Trying to think.
If you want to,
he's gonna play the he's gonna play the hero card.
Okay. Do you want to see what somebody does before you decide how to play that out?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we will swing over to Jessica.
So she's pointing in the direction of her car, finally into the right direction, and she stiffens as she sees Michael walking down the street. And suddenly there is that determined face again. She means business as she's suddenly rushing for her husband. Her purse swinging in circles in the air. And she has that absolute hate in her eyes. And the same moment she whacks him with her purse, he swings his fist into her face. And he has that bulky ring he's wearing on one of his hands. And as he hits her face, he hits her eye as well, right into the center, and it's enough to gouge out her eye. And she doesn't even realize that for a moment. She's just going crazy on him. They're basically fighting in the middle of the street, in the middle of that craziness around them. But she's very proficiently using her purse at the moment, and that was a major injury. Is that major enough?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It's totally up to you. So yeah. Just make a note that you lost an eye just in case that comes back to haunt you somehow. All right. And then we will swing over to what am I missing? Frank.
Right. Okay. So, and I hope I don't step on any toes here. So the the Hero Zero card thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now you said we can use that to rewrite a scene that just kind of happened.
Yep. Basically. Yep.
Okay.
And that person would put the card back in their hand, and you would play another card.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to let Jessica put her major physical injury back in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and I was actually going to do the same thing as Jack. I'm going to go ahead and play the hero card.
Okay.
So the combination of old guy in the tweed jacket who already has me royally pissed off, combined with Uncle Mikey, who we've just learned puts his hands on Aunt Jessica, or my soon-to-be Aunt Jessica, and uses the old "you make me do it to you" kind of thing. So Frank's just going to kind of snap, and he's going to pull his knife out of his sheath and just start stalking before Jessica can. She's like grabs her purse and starts to go, and he just kind of shoves her off to the side, and he's like, so you came back after you ran my fucking bike over, huh? And you son of a bitch, you like to put your hands all over women, right? Why don't you come put your hands all over me? And I'm just going to charge right into the three of them and just go total murder, blood rage, and just start stabbing and slashing. And I'm just going to try and just slaughter these guys right in the alley if I can.
Certainly. And we'll swing over to, Jack real quick. Do you want to play some card, or what do you want to do? You can just go right with what he's saying, basically.
Yeah, I feel like Jack and Frank would kind of just glance at each other and then just run in after Aunt Jess when they see her run in screaming. And then just kind of, he would go for the old man, and I think Jack would go for Uncle Mike and just like smack him in the head with the tire iron.
Nice. All right. So since you guys play the hero card, you have to play one of the other ones to go with it on what happens to you. So
I'll take
what you have left in your hands, but
I'll take a major injury.
Okay.
So he just like takes a tire iron and like stabs it into the eye socket of his uncle. But while he's dealing with him, the guy with the cement pipe thing like hits him in the arm, and you just hear this snap as it like it breaks his arm and it cracks one of his ribs.
You feel yourself get thrown into this wall. This old guy is screaming, a tire iron sticking out of his eye socket, and you can see when he reaches up to get it, this other guy with the cement thing kind of reaches over, grabbing a hold of that tire iron and just rips it free, taking off half the face of this old guy. With it, his body drops, and this man with the huge cement pipe thing, and he has this tire iron, starts moving towards you as you're slammed up against this wall. This Uncle Mikey, as you're kind of slashing, you just tear into him. What was your other card you're playing, Frank?
The only other one I've got, which is I'm actually go with the major physical injury here.
Okay.
And so as I'm giving Uncle Mikey the good old Tennessee walk around with the knife there, there was another dude there that supposedly had you said looked like he had a pipe that he just pulled right out of the ground.
Yeah, it looks like it was broken off something or out of the ground or something, but It has that big cement bottom to it.
Yeah, so as I'm gutting that guy, Mikey, before he does what he does to Jack, he swings that pipe and just smacks Jack in the head, and just kind of, you can tell it just busts his head wide open. So there's blood gushing all down the side of his face, and it's a good enough of a crack that it's it probably cracked his skull a little bit. It's probably a skull fracture. He's definitely seeing stars and birds and everything else, but in his complete anger, he finishes the job on Mikey, but he's going to be losing blood pretty fast. Pretty horrible.
So yeah, you see Uncle Michael just dropped to the ground. His intestines spill across the ground, opened up from multiple stab wounds and gashes from Frank. This old man's face, half of it's pretty much been torn off by this other guy. Jessica and Vinny, you see those two as they get smashed in. Jack gets thrown against the wall and smashed in the side with this thing, and Frank gets cracked in the skull. The two of you see an opening, to do something to this guy or to stop this. Either one of you can take the action, and what do you do to this guy to stop this or kill him or something?
So I'm gonna say after he cracks me in the head and I drop Michael to the ground, I'm just going to kind of bounce off the little fence there. And as I come back off the fence, I'm just going to take the knife as I come off the fence, and I'm just going to do like a backhand swipe and just cut right through his throat. Just cut his throat. Leave him standing there in case Jack has something that he wants to drop a finishing move on him or something.
Any last words from anybody?
Just fervent prayer.
Only the blank stare of Jessica. The half. Oh no, I didn't lose my eye now. Oh man.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. Okay, so the blank stare, and that that slight smile. You almost can't see it, but it's there.
Yeah, this guy's throat just opens like a sieve. You see the blood's going down his chest, spurts out, it just covers you from head to toe, Frank, in blood. It's coming down your body. And that is the end of that. So put whatever cards you played into your discard pile and send me a message and vote on one character.
Okay.
And actually, if you want to take maybe like a 3-minute break, because this will probably be leading into the very end.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say pick up the cards we played, so earlier, since the last break, I had a...
No, put it away.
Yeah, discard whatever card you played. I don't think you have anything left in your hand.
I don't.
Yeah, so all of yours are in the discard pile.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Except my last flashback. I do have another. You said I could put that back. So, all right, taking a break.
Yep.
5 minutes?
Yep. Well, yeah, 3-5 minutes. And then we'll run through the end.
Coffee.
I'm back.
All right.
Yep, we do.
All right.
Yep.
Probably like a half hour-ish, give or take, somewhere right in there, I'm thinking. Because you completely skipped one whole part, so.
So let me just double check something while we've got a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So after the votes and you get, say, a card back due to the votes, do you lose that card if you don't play it, or does that stay in
Nope,
your
that
pile?
stays in your hand until you use it.
Right. So
I'm gonna say, I think you have 1 or 2 cards left in your hand. I know Frank's out. I think Jack's out.
I have 4.
I have one more.
One more.
Is that right? Yeah, 4.
You should have played 3. You should only have at least 2.
I got that one back.
Yeah, because you start with 4. You played 1. You got it back, and then you should have played 2 other ones. So you should have 2. Because you start with 4.
You lost your finger thing, and
Yeah, so I've got 2 mental anguishes and 1 physical, and I took the physical back.
oh right, because he
Yeah, he won the second vote.
yeah. Did you only have 1 wound or mental anguish?
You had the mental anguish in the very beginning.
Yep.
Played. Then you had the physical one where you lost your hand. Then you had a third mental, or a second mental, but your third card for this round right here.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have been down to 1 card, but you put 1 back in your hand for winning the vote. So you should have 2 cards. You should have your hero's your card because you haven't played that, so that should be in hand for sure. And then whatever card you discarded and took back. Follow what I mean, or no?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Okay.
Just trying to figure out where.
It doesn't matter which one you have in your hand, really. And then, I think what, Jessica, you have 2?
No, I have 3. I have the
3.
hero, the major because I took it back because Jack Blah pulled the hero, and the moderate I still have because yeah.
Sorry guys, I'm back.
All right.
I had to have a fight with the coffee machine. It almost won.
All right. Well, Frank,
I know what I've done wrong.
You can put whatever card you want back in your hand because you won that round. So everybody else, whatever card you played, discard. Frank, pick one of your discard cards and put it back in your hand. Everybody else, put your flashback card in your hand.
Wait a minute. I didn't actually. You called for a vote?
Yep. Oh, I didn't get your. Well, you automatically. Even you can't vote for yourself, but
okay.
You're ahead by 2.
I missed that part. I'm sorry.
Nope, that's all right.
So I can pick one discarded card and put it in my hand, huh?
Yep. And I have a request.
Oh.
For Vinny. Somebody wants to know about your childhood.
No way. Is that from the YouTube channel?
Well, it's messaged me on Facebook, but so you don't have to jump on that if you don't want to, but that was just a request if you wanted to indulge somebody. So with that, we will jump right in. To all of you standing in this alleyway, these three bodies of Michael, this old man, and this other guy, you're not sure who the hell he was in general, just somebody, laying on the street, butchered, torn apart. Up above, you can hear the gunshot and this ping of a bullet as it goes off the wall. A bit of dust and brick kind of shatters around you. Another ping as these cops up above you on the ledge open fire. If you look around the streets, there's still people around fighting and stuff, but nobody has noticed you guys directly yet. But you can see some of them kind of turning their head, looking in that direction, drawn by the noise. You can see Jessica's car down further. Your bike is leaned over on its side. It looks like it's been pretty much ravaged, and people have taken what they could off of it to use as weapons. The muffler's kind of missing, been out of place. So I'll toss it over to you guys. What do you want to do?
Go for the freeing car.
Yeah, it sounds like
Yep.
the best plan.
Making a beeline for it, or stealthily, or
Maybe take the pipe with the concrete and hammer throw it into some trash cans farther away to like draw the rabid dudes towards that rather than towards our noise and us running towards the car.
yeah, you can hear a slam into these old tin garbage cans. It makes all this noise. You hear a cat screech and jump out of one of these things. Almost instantly, it's set upon by a pack of birds that swoop down on this thing as it tries to crawl away. As you guys make a run, is everybody running for it, or?
Yeah, I'm hunched over a little bit, and I'm hiding now and then behind trash cans while we're running, just to stay out of sight. And but still, I shout, "Oh, this is exciting!"
Shh.
Oh, sorry.
It's the dogs.
That's the sound of the rabid dogs behind you.
It's just my schnauzer. Like
Then he
literally.
suddenly picks up pace.
All right. You see Jessica hunker down, start moving down the street. Everybody following her? I mean, you guys can take it. It's up to you what you want to do from there.
I'd follow her.
Yeah, I don't know that splitting up is a thing to be considered at the moment.
So Jack drops down and Frank behind him. The three of them starting to make their way out of the alleyway. You hear this ping above you as these cops open fire in you guys' direction, just leaving bullet holes in the ground. Luckily, they're crappy shots, apparently. Vinny, you're there reciting these words over and over, and you see the others leaving. What do you do?
I start shuffling along behind them, still muttering as I go.
So all of you move block, the first block, keep into the shadows, behind the alleyways, behind garbage cans, pretty much whatever you can, cars, even bodies in some cases, in between the back ends and cars, over top of them. Inside a lot of these, you still see people now and then that are just hunkered down, trying to not be seen inside these cars. As you move over another one, you see a woman. She looks old, like very elderly, very, very old, sitting in the driver's seat of this huge Cadillac. Her eyes are just pitch red as she stares at you through the windshield, and she's beating on the windshield trying to get out, but it looks like she's stuck in here or hasn't figured out how to open up the door or something. As she slams up against it, you see her teeth fall out across the floor. These dentures roll around. After a few moments, though, you're able to get to Jessica's car, and you can see that the windshield has completely been busted out of this thing.
Morgan,
glass around. Yep.
I was gonna say when we see that old lady in her car, Jack would actually stop us, and he would look at the ignition to see if her keys are in there.
Yeah, they'd be in there.
And he'd kind of be like, wait, this one. We could take this one. And like as he's whispering, you just hear the thumping on the window.
Yeah, this old woman, you can see she's just beating on the window. She smacks it one more time. You can see her arm kind of snap out of place from hitting it so hard. These old, brittle bones. She smacks against it again, a bit of a blood smearing across the windshield. She seems to be in this rage to get to you. You all hear Jack as he says he wants this car.
She seems to be a little bit excited, I say as I walk up next to you.
Well, we'll have to calm her down, won't we? He kind of, I guess he doesn't have. He would have taken some sort of weapon off of the guys that they saw earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I open the door. We take her out. Get the hell out of here.
Well then, Jessica starts swinging her purse in circles again. I'm ready.
He looks to the other two.
Yeah. I'm getting right in the car.
You hear this growl in the distance, some yelling as you look down the street. Several dogs, a couple people start running down the streets. They all look a bit rabid, blood covered, running towards you. Other ones in the distance start yelling, pointing in your direction. It's almost an instant swarm as they're coming out of back alleys, out of windows and doors for the buildings, starting to kind of circle around where you're coming.
Fuck. Now! He's like, all right, I'm not gonna wait. He opens the door and, like, it's ready for Frank or whoever to bash her head in and grab the car.
Yeah, as you walk around the side, you can see her just slamming up against this door. Her head's getting a bit bloodied. Her shoulder's clearly out of joint as her arm flops to the side of her, and she just smashes into the store over and over. So as soon as you open it, she just lunges out. Who does what to her?
So as she lunges out, I'm just gonna basically do the same thing with the other. As soon as her head comes out the door, I'm just gonna reach in and just. She's got the bloody red eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As soon as she leans out, I'm just gonna reach in and just cut her throat, and then grab her and like try and throw her off to the side. Just yank her out of the car and throw her off into the side of the ditch there or whatever.
Totally. So yeah, you slit her open and throw her to the side. Her body just lands in a heap. As all these other people start coming around, these dogs. A few birds swoop down, landing on the hood of the car and peck at the hood and start moving towards you. Vinny, as you come around the back end of this car, deciding, what you want to do, you feel a little tug on the back of your pant leg, and you look over and you see, I don't know, a kid who's maybe 9, 10, staring back at you, this wide smile on his face, these bloodshot red eyes. And you see he reaches out and grabbing a hold of your lapels of your coat and starts trying to drag you down. Not strong enough, obviously, but almost like you're trying to climb up your body just to get to you. What do you do?
And what is it that's trying to climb me again?
Nope, it would be on Vinny, a younger kid.
Oh, Vinny, sorry.
11, 12.
So I'll play my flashback card here, if that's cool.
Sure.
Does this need to be the childhood one? The request?
No. You don't even have to be obligated to do it. It's just a request as well.
No, I'll do it. See what I can come up with. Seems like a good time to do it. Staring in the face of a demonic child. Did it all for you, Damien? So looking at this child, reminiscent of a childhood friend of Vinny's. Before Vinny moved to this area, he grew up in the Bronx, New York City. Good Italian boy, Catholic school upbringing. The hard-faced nuns and with their wide arses. Fire and brimstone. Certainly not spared the rod. And he thinks back to his childhood friend, Anthony, and their lessons in class. As he sees this kid, perhaps maybe this kid's wearing a kind of school uniform as well. And the nun saying, Anthony, if you got everybody in class standing up in front of their desk. Anthony, mark 1332. Anthony shuffles, looks side to side. But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Very good, Anthony. Vincenzo. And at that moment, Vinny just feels that cold sweat come over him. Corinthians 5:10. Whack. You have not been reading your scriptures, have you, Vincenzo? For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that whack. So that each of us may receive what is due for us for the things done well in the body, whether good or bad. Whack. And that last whack brings him back to the moment as this kid, as he's climbing up, and punches him in the stomach, just in the sternum.
You guys see Vinny as he just gut punches this kid off of him. Kid hits the ground hard. His head's whipping back and cracking on the concrete. He's still alive, obviously. He shakes his head a little bit like he's getting ready to get up, but clearly concussed. Jack, Frank, Jessica, you guys can get into the car without a problem. As Vinny comes around, climbing into this thing, as the doors slam shut. Whoever wants to be in the driver's seat is welcome. As you kind of look around, though, you notice the keys are still in there. The windshield is smeared with a bit of blood. The old woman's dentures are on the floor beside you, along with her purse. Whoever's in the back, as you guys slide in, though, you look over and you see this dog that's been put into almost like a little car seat in the back seat, and it's just going crazy. These bloodshot covered eyes is just trying to get out of this thing and bite who's ever back there, but it's been kind of like strapped in almost like a child carrier in the back seat. This little poodle-y looking chihuahua thing. So take it from there, guys. Who's driving and who's in the back, and what do you do?
I guess Jack would be driving.
Okay. So as soon as you turn the keys, the car starts right up without a problem. This great, huge Cadillac. The street itself is a bit crowded, but this thing's pretty much going to push whatever's in the way out of the way and drive over anything else. As soon as you turn it on, though, the radio is just blaring at the top of, it's as loud as this thing can go. It's cranked all the way to 11. And it's talking about how there's this, outbreak in Ithaca, New York, and something's going on. And it's all cut out by static for a second. In between the yips of this dog in the back and whoever's back there trying to get this thing not to bite them, you hear a woman come across the radio. All listening personnel should be aware of an outbreak in Ithaca, New York. The military is on way. The police force and emergency forces should not be trusted. It seems whatever's happened here has infected them all. Please listen to all military personnel. Do as they say. Do not leave the city. Find refuge, take shelter, and stay hidden. When you see the military or the vehicles, explain yourselves and follow their orders. I repeat. And then she says this whole thing over. And then she repeats it over. And just the same recording over and over of finding shelter, making sure you get away, military help is on its way, blah, 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 blah.
So whoever's in the back, I guess Jack would shout out, "Throw that thing out the window! We gotta get out of here! Vinny, get in the fucking car!"
I would probably have jumped in the front seat with Jack.
All right. So Jessica and Vinny, you guys are in the back trying to get this dog not to bite you. It's just nipping like crazy. You sharp little teeth.
He said it's another sort of baby seat type thing.
Yeah.
So I guess it'll be one of those you reach for it, pull back, just to get the straps undone, and then just eventually grabbing it and throwing it, hurling it across the street with the dog still inside.
Just use it like a bludgeon and hit that like rabid kid with it.
Yeah, you see his head pop up just in time. What? As the dog cracks against his skull, they both kind of stumble back and set upon one another for the moment.
I would like to use my flashback.
Go for it.
So, we see once again Jessica enter her home, and she has a little bag on her side, And very cautiously, she enters the living room where Michael is reading the newspaper. And she says, Michael, I got us something. And we see the bag move a little bit at her hips. And Michael looks up, already seeing a catastrophe coming. So he's already pissed, although she didn't say that much yet. And he waves with his hand for her to continue. And she says, well, because we can't have children, I thought. And she opens the bag and she takes out a little puppy, probably mixed breed. And he smiles. And she smiles as well. She's really relieved that he seems to like it. And he says, you know what, honey? Let's have a little drive. Shall we? And they have a little drive. They go outside, go into the car. The puppy is jumping from the back seat to the front seat and back again, and it's really enjoying himself. And they drive out of town. What?
I said I can't listen to this.
Yeah, it's horrible, right? It hurts my heart as well. And the puppy is jumping around, and you hear him like, and they're driving out of town, and there is that big bridge, and they cross it. And Michael is smiling all the time, and he lets down the driver's side window like halfway, and they're both smiling now, and their hair is fluttering in the wind. And suddenly, Michael's right hand grabs the puppy, and he smiles at Jessica. Jessica, I told you not to spend our money. And boof, the puppy flies out of the window and sails down with a yip onto the ground, a lot of feet below them. And we're back.
It sucked.
What the heck?
I know.
I'm so glad I cut that sumbitch in half.
So, this car starts up. This camera pans back around, focused on the four of you in this car, slowly kind of inching your way between these vehicles. People, now and then you'll see somebody just run towards the car and just slam into the side of it over and over. Some of them getting caught under the tires. You can hear their bones cracking, their screams as you run over top of them. Where are you headed, or what are you doing?
Are we going for the wedding now? You hear from the back seat.
Might as well, right?
I think we probably need to find someplace, a secure place where we can lock ourselves up or something, man.
But Susan won't find us then.
I gotta pick up my mom, man.
Yeah.
Don't you want to grab your dad?
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's kind of hard to think, man. All this. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Your eyes are getting really red.
It's a good. Well, I mean, yeah. It's just all this crap going on. It's hard to focus. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around all this stuff.
Sort it out. Military should be able to help.
You don't have to wrap your head around this. Michael will do the thinking for you. That's what he always tells me. And I lean back in the back seat, crossing my arms and smiling, looking outside through the window.
I kind of glance over to Jack and just kind of be like, give him that kind of tilted head look like, yeah.
So, Jack, as you make your way between these cards, some people getting run over, other ones just slamming up against the car. between the streets. You head towards where your mom and Chris are getting married for the day. Just around the corner, you can see the Bethlehem Church up on the side of the hill. A beautiful, it's almost cathedral-like, these huge stone pillars out front and beautiful engravements. The church doors are open. Bodies litter the front of the place. You can see people walking around here and there looking for those that are alive still or seem to be normal, almost like hunting them. And then you see the flash of white as your mom steps out from the church doors and she looks around. Her face is covered in blood. As your car comes to a stop, her eyes turning direction, you can see that blood red shot in her eyes. She raises just her hand and points in your direction. Looks like she turns and says something. Behind her, you see Chris, Frank, your father, as he step out. He's missing his left arm. It's just bits of sinew and meat kind of hanging off to the side, but he too has these blood red eyes. And you see your other family members, brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, just start pouring out of the church, rushing towards this car where the normals seem to be. The first one that gets there is your mom, Jack, running directly towards this door. You can see her mouth screaming. Blood seems to pool out of her mouth, and her tongue falls on the ground. What do you guys do? Actually, if anybody has a flashback card they want to use now, go for it.
I do not have one.
I have one. I just need to.
If you want, we can just play, because I'm going to need a mental or physical anguish card now. So play your card, and if you want to somehow fit that flashback into the confrontation scene, go for it, Dan.
Okay. So the flashback like keeps getting added back into my hand, right?
If you are not voted as the successor, yes, because it allows you to further develop your character while inhibiting those that succeed, basically.
Got it. Okay.
But you can hold on to that and bring it up. But yeah, I'm going to need a...
but you need to grab a...
mental anguish, physical anguish, hero zero card, whichever. Play what you got. And
okay.
This one actually puts you first, Dan. So, yeah.
All right. I'm going to play minor mental anguish. He kind of was expecting to find this when he got here, but he needed to see it for himself. Mm-hmm. Now that he has confirmation, he's just he's submitted to like the fact that everyone's gone. He just stomps on the gas as like his mom like slides across the hood and like her face is right in the windshield. Just sees her like bite off her own tongue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see she's screaming at this. She's hitting the windshield with these stiletto high-heeled shoes she has on, just smashing the heel into the windshield. You see a small crack a little bit, and eventually it punctures through as she continues to beat on this thing. All of you are thrown back into your seats a little bit as Jack slams on the gas and starts to take off again. Clearly running over top of Chris, Frank, your father, and you hear that thump, 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 thump as he goes underneath the wheels. Look back just in time to see his head and body crushed into the pavement. Over top of a sewer grate, so some of his body's kind of dribbling down into the sewer grate.
Ooh.
And Jessica, what did you play and what happens?
I'm playing. I have to readjust this. Hold on. I'm playing the moderate injury as he's driving away that fast. She's hitting with a crack the window next to her with her head, and just as she was like waving to Susan, who's like hanging on the windshield, Susan, hey, gosh, and yeah, she's basically coming off now with a major, concussion. Okay. Now, probably not major. I should play the major card then, right? Yeah. No?
Trying to decide. I don't know if a concussion would be a major physical injury.
I don't know.
Yeah, you could crack your head, go unconscious. That'd be
Yeah,
good.
you'd really.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah. That's actually a good idea. Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and mid sentence, like, "Hey Sue," push, and nothing happening anymore from the back seat. There's silence suddenly.
Yeah, as you look over, you can see the window where Jessica has her head smacked against it. Blood has covered part of it, but it's been blowing out pretty much for the most part. The glass is shattered. And you quickly see your cousin, John, as he reaches over, grabbing a hold of Jessica's hair, starting to try to drag her through the window. Is Jack, you're taking off, so her body's caught kind of in between, starting to get dragged through this window as you're pulling away. That will swing over to Frank. What did you play and what happens?
Well, I don't have any cards other than the Hero Zero card, but I don't really know how that would fit in right here at all because we're just riding in the car.
She's somehow safe. I can have. Let's see what I've done. We'll swing over to Vinny then. Why don't you?
Yeah, I'll hold my card for a moment.
So, Vinny, what did you play and what happens?
It would be the moderate physical injury, and as with this scene's all been taken in by Vinny as he's sitting in the back of the car. He's kind of pressed up against one of the windows, or the window nearest him. And just before Jack hits the accelerator, the window smashes in. And we'll say it's the Reverend who's going to conduct the ceremony. Or, I don't know what you would be, but
Minister, priest, yeah.
The minister. Smashing the window with his fist, bringing it through. It's causing Vinny to jump. But at the same time, Jack hits the accelerator. So all this minister does is fish hook Vinny by the mouth. But for some reason, he hangs onto the car as it starts to speed, pulling Vinny back almost out the window. Vinny can hear as well as feel his cheek as the fingernails dig in and it starts to rip. And it rips all the way up to about halfway before the minister goes tumbling back. Just the blood from Vinny's mouth trailing after him.
So you hear the windows in the back smash behind you, Frank. Her hair is grabbed by your cousin John, her soon-to-be cousin John, step-cousin John, whatever the hell he is, just grabs a hold of your Aunt Jessica's hair, pulling her through the window as Jack slams on the gas, pulling away. She's kind of caught in between. You can see the glass cutting into her side as she starts to get pulled out. On the other side, this minister has his hand kind of caught in the corner of Vinny's mouth, tearing apart his cheek. You can see it splits kind of on his upper lip, down on his lower jaw, just this cheek flapping to the side. And this minister yelling, has his arms caught in the window, and you're speeding down the street. Jessica hanging halfway out, dragging John behind her by the hair. And what would you like to play? Well, unless you don't have an idea for that card, or it's in your court. So,
well, we're back to me, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I got is the hero card, so I will play that. So if I play the hero card, is it save one or the other, or?
Yep, you can save one or the other, but because you do not have another card to play with that card, you will probably perish, but we'll find out what happens to that in a moment.
Okay. All right. We're gonna have to do I'm gonna go totally random on this one. All right.
So you can see this minister, he's barely hanging on, kind of reaching through, trying to grab a hold of Vinny, gets part of his lapel, and he's getting a hold of you a little bit, Vinny, as he starts to speed off. So he's kind of trying to drag you out as well. It looks like, Frank, you got to make a choice between one of the two because one of them's getting dragged out.
So I'll spin around and climb over the back seat. And so Vinny's still in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Jessica is pretty much in danger of pretty much being sucked right out the window.
Well, both of them are technically, but
oh, he's leaning out too.
Yeah.
Damn.
As this minister's trying to grab a hold of him, pull him out. Yeah, you have enough time to help one or the other. One of them's going out the window, and one of them can be saved.
Shit.
So, Sophie's choice.
So, no, right?
This Jack is just flooring it and flying down the street in this giant pink Cadillac. Looks like a Mary Kay Cadillac.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit. Well, Jessica is family, and unfortunately, Vinny is not. That's pretty much the deciding factor there. So, I'm going to take the knife that I had and basically just try and cram myself through the same window that Jessica's being pulled out of, and I'm going to take the knife and just skewer it right through the arm of the hand that's got her by the hair, and just skewer it right down through the forearm and just try and wrench the knife and twist it as hard as I can to try and make the hand pop loose and grab her by the, like, I don't know if she's wearing a dress or a blouse or whatever, but I'll grab her by the collar of it and just like yank her to get her back in the back seat of the car.
Yeah, this cousin John there lets go of her hair. You can see his hand is just completely split open. It severs it right down through this palm of his hand, his fingers. It just splits it completely apart wide as you pull her back in. So, yes or no, do you die?
Well, I don't know. Is it up to me?
Yep. I need just a yes or a no.
Wow. I'm used to being told that I died and have to describe it. So I'm going to probably say most likely, I guess.
Is that a yes?
Yeah, probably.
All right. In that case, you do get to describe your death.
Okay.
What happens?
So as I grab Jessica by the collar and yank her back in the car, and I've still got my knife dug into quote unquote cousin John's arm. As I push stab it down through his forearm, the blade goes right between the radius and the ulna bone, so it kind of splits right down between the two bones in the forearm, and so as it cuts, it ends up like basically as he lets go and falls away, the knife's going with him, and I'm so freaking like adrenaline pumped. I'm just got a hold like a death grip on the knife, and I'm half hanging out the window anyway, and without even thinking, being more concerned about shoving her in. Once the knife pulls and I'm already half hanging out, it ends up just pulling me the rest of the way out of the window before I can even think to, hey, stupid, let go of the knife. And I tumble right out the window and start rolling along the ground, which is probably pretty painful. And I'm assuming people are probably chasing the car down. And as I stop rolling with cousin John and try and struggle to my feet, the rest of the wedding party or the church party or whoever it is that was there will probably catch up and just swarm over top me. And I go down swinging like a champ, punching, biting, kicking everything I can, but it doesn't take long before the like clump of people just falls into the street and I get buried under a mass of red-eyed bastards.
Nice. So all of you see is what would have been stepbrother Frank or brother Frank, nephew Frank.
Yeah.
Gets dragged down into the street. You get that sense, Jessica, that he saved his life, or he saved your life, but his was lost with it. And Vinny, you can feel this as it just rips your cheek off, and you think for a moment, at least you got away before that other hand grabs a hold. This minister hanging on just barely, his feet kind of flapping behind as Jack is slamming on the gas. And with that, he starts to pull you free, and then there's this loud smash as you hit a car, Jack, that pulls out of the side. This woman that looks like she was okay. She doesn't have the red eyes or anything, but you just completely T-boned this car that was coming around the corner. You see the front end dig into hers, and she's pretty much gone. And behind you, Vinny, you grab this minister fellow, grabs you, pulling you through this window. I need Vinny to play me a card and tell me what happens.
I would have no cards left.
So, do you live or do you die?
I die.
All right, describe your death.
So this is Minister's fish hooked, and Mercury and forwards, and this Jack's impeccable driving is faltered by the unseen car coming out of nowhere, and he crashes into it. Jack's head violently Vinny's head violently snaps back with the weight of the minister, who just does actually tear his cheek off, just rips it violently off all the way up to the ear. He goes tumbling back, and Vinny just falls in the back seat of the car, head down, like between his legs, almost like a prayer position.
So you see his head snap beside you, Jessica. Frank swarmed behind you. Jack, as you T-bone this car, you see that girl's horrified look for just a second. You realize that you know her. Who was it? And as you just see her just in time before you T-bone her car and kind of go up into it, so you know that she's probably underneath the front end of this car somewhere.
Maybe it's like it was the popular girl at school. It was a total bitch.
Totally. She deserved it anyway. Yeah. So you see Eileen, that popular bitchy ass, basic bitch girl from school. It's almost that kind of, well, she kind of deserves it. Because, yeah, you T-bone this car. You see Frank get dragged out behind in the window from behind. And everything comes to a stop, and your head smashes off the steering wheel. You look back to see Jessica's still back there. Vinny is dead. His head snapped back. Frank's back in the midst. Behind you, this horde of people's running down the street. In front of you, you hear this grinding sound. And when you look back up, you see a military vehicle from in front of you come around the corner. Looks sort of like your off-road Hummer sort of vehicle. This man stands on the back with this large gun, and he just mows everybody down. You just hear gunshots ricocheting everywhere around you. Windshields blowing out of cars. You guys are forced to duck down a little bit as the top of this car gets sheared off. The people behind you screaming as they're just completely mowed down by this gun on the back of the Hummer. Jack and Jessica, what do you guys do?
Jessica leans forward and puts a hand on Jack's shoulder after she looked at Vinny, and out of the window again where Jack has been dragged or pulled apart by the people, and she smiles then at Jack, the hand on his shoulder like I said, and she says, Jack, I think we have to think now ourselves. Michael isn't always right. We have to decide our fate now.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, definitely. We should probably hide.
Well, I suggest
machine guns.
Sorry.
And he just trails off as he kind of looks back at the remains of the rabid dudes.
Yeah, you can hear the grinding of this truck's wheels, and then you hear the motor as it pulls up beside your car. Both of you hunker down for the moment. You can hear the opening of the doors, the slamming of the doors, and the footsteps behind you. Is two men, completely full regalia military gear. They have these large gas masks on their face. Look like they're talking into some sort of little handheld, like a walkie-talkie or something, a transmitter radio. And You feel this nudge on the back of your shoulder as you're hunched down, Jack, as this man is shoving his end of his rifle into your back, almost like he's checking to see if you're alive or something. What do you do?
I think he'd act like he's knocked out.
Yeah, you see him nudge you several times. So, no, this one's gone. He moves back again, nudging Jessica. What do you do?
I look up and I smile. Oh, hello. Could you give us a ride? We're a bit lost here, and there's so much chaos. I really don't know. Where is my car?
Do you live or do you die?
I probably die.
Oh,
yes.
no.
Yeah, because the guy.
You're not all crazy, though.
Yeah, but I mean, that guy is probably totally crazed out already. Seeing
when you look at these guys, the military people, they don't have red eyes or nothing. They're perfectly normal.
No, but they've seen some shit now, and as Jessica turns around and yeah, he probably by accident, more or less, pulls the trigger just to be sure.
Like the end of a Night of the Living Dead, right?
So, in that case, Jessica, why don't you go ahead and describe what happens?
I saved you for nothing.
Oh shit!
Like I said,
She startled me, man.
He suddenly pulls the trigger in shock, and we see Jessica slammed back by the bullet in her head, and she lands on Vinny, but she still has that how do you say that blessed smile, that heavenly smile on her lips.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Jessica goes down.
All right. And with that, Jack, we'll swing over to you one last time. You hear the gunshot. From the corner of your eye, you see Jessica's body slump over, her head landing on top of Vinny's, smiling up. That blissful sort of smile. Do you do anything, or do you continue to play dead? Or rather, should I say, do you live or do you die?
Oh, I think he would be committed to acting dead, especially after hearing that.
All right.
He would just like, his face would flinch, but his face is hidden as if he's knocked out, as he just hears the gunshot like loud and echoing.
Would you say that stresses you out a little?
Oh yeah.
So you can feel your heart beating in your ears. You can feel it thumping in your chest. You see this reddish haze as it seems to wash over top of your eyes, in this just absolutely furious rage overwhelm you. When you spin around to look at this guy, unable to even help yourself, your eyes are bloodshot, covered in blood, trickles down your cheek. Why don't you do the final scene as Jack goes crazy?
Yeah, so like he's hiding, just like terrified out of his mind, and he hears the gunshot, and like as the gunshot goes off, his eyes fly open and they're blood red. And as the men just kind of like start sauntering back towards the vehicle, turning their back on who they think are 3 dead bodies, he just like sneaks up behind them and grabs the pistol out of the officer's holster and gets him in the back of the head and shoots the other one as well.
Nice. And does Jack go on to join the horde of ravenous people?
Yeah, he'd start hunting and stuff.
All right. So those final scenes,
maybe hop into the Humvee and like drive off the way that they came.
Yes. You start to go down, you see Uncle Jack and Aunt Becky as they climb into the back of the Humvee. Jack takes over this gun, and your Aunt Becky sits on the side plucking grenades out of the little trail backpacks on the back as you drive through town, laying waste. And with that, we see you guys ride off into the sunset on this beautiful, gorgeous, sweltering hot day. And the scene sort of fades to black. You see the credits roll. And that is the end of Fever Pitch.
Oh my God.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to vote Micah for the Bummer Award tonight.
What?
The Totally Bummer Award. It's like, first it's an abused woman, then flashbacks of dead puppies, and then save your ass just so you can just be like, oh, boom.
Oh, I'd like to die, please. Oh, damn it.
That sounds legit. That sounds like a crazy zombie movie.
I mean, I didn't say it wasn't legit. I'm just like, damn. Sad.
Beautiful. So, any guesses to what was actually going on?
They were infected with the rage disease.
Rage virus?
28 days later.
Yeah, it's pretty much 28 days later is the scenario.
If you haven't watched it, Mikey, you should.
That's a great movie. The movie is probably even more depressing.
The second one is shit.
No, watch the first one.
I liked both of them.
No.
Yeah.